The following is a sports presentation of the University of Nebraska's radio station, your home for continuous coverage of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. 90.3 KRNU, Lincoln, Nebraska. You're listening to Nebraska Cornhusker basketball on 90.3 KRNU, Lincoln.
Part 2 of the broadcast day here on 90.3 KRNU. It is the Husker Countdown pregame show, men's basketball style. And if you listened to the baseball game earlier, you know what this is. It's Nebraska and Wisconsin, the 9th-ranked team in the country. And so begins the countdown to this important game for the Huskers on senior night. Ryan Swanigan joined by Jon Kipper, Doug Lowery, and Wade Hilligoss. Fellas, we all know that today is a big game. Jon Kipper, I'll start with you. How big really is this game, considering that all other Big Ten games that happen today are now final?
Obviously, if Nebraska wins, they get that bye in the Big Ten tournament as the 4 seed. Nebraska hasn't ever had that, and that's something new to the fans, and that could really help if Nebraska wants to make a Big Ten tournament run. Having a bye could be gigantic for Wisconsin. Could get the 2 seed, but more importantly, Wisconsin looking towards the NCAA tournament, they could get a 1 seed if they keep winning, because Arizona, KU, Virginia all lose this weekend. If Wisconsin gets this win and makes a run in the tournament, they could have that 1 seed, and that's very, very valuable when it comes to this. And just in terms of here in Lincoln, this is one of the biggest home games ever in terms of men's basketball. Definitely in the past 20 years since Nebraska's had those tournament runs. But even then, the program was kind of stalwart. And now this program is rising up. They have a top 10 team here in the brand new arena. Sellout. I mean, the stakes for this game couldn't be higher.
We'll get our thoughts for how this game is going to turn out at the end of the pregame show. Doug Lowery, I'll ask you, as we move to talk about the NCAA tournament, because believe it or not, Nebraska men's basketball is one of the last 4 teams in, according to Joe Lunardi's bracket. Do the Huskers still have a chance to get into the NCAA tournament at this point?
Oh, of course they do. They're one of the last 4 teams in right now. They've been playing very well, and if they win tonight, it's almost a sure bet that they're in. In the event they would lose tonight, there's always the Big Ten tournament to win another game or two to prove to the selection committee that they should be in. So obviously they're still in the picture. They're still in the forefront of the picture as of right now. This game will tell us a lot. By the end of this game, we'll know whether we're going to be talking about them fighting for a spot or whether they're basically a surefire team. It would be hard to think that the team that's 4th seeded in the Big Ten would not make it into the NCAA tournament. That's a very hard thought to swallow if you're a basketball fan and if you know anything about the seeding of the tournament. So I think Nebraska is very much so still in the picture for this one.
Wade Hilligoss, Doug kind of talked about this, but I'll ask you for your thoughts. Does Nebraska deserve to be in the NCAA tournament right now at this point? And let's say that they lose tonight to Wisconsin, do they still deserve it after that?
You know, I've actually said all along, I think to get in, Nebraska actually needs 20 wins. So you might see in the bracketology that they're one of the last 4 teams in. I tend to not believe that a little bit because I think that Nebraska doesn't have the pedigree on that last day. Someone else might, like a St. Louis, carry a little bit. A little bit. So I think we need 20 wins. So when you talk about this game, this would be a big part of getting that first of the final 2 wins to get into the tournament. A win here gets a bye, and then one more win in the Big Ten tournament, I think, is what Nebraska needs. A loss here means they have to go into Indianapolis and win 2 against one of the bottom teams in the conference, which, as we see, is not a team that's inconsistent from time to time.
This is as inconsistent as that headset that you're wearing right now. Kipper, actually, I'll go with you. Looking at Nebraska here, how do they fare in the Big Ten tournament right now? It looks like they're going to get either the 4 seed or the 5 seed. How do they end up playing in that?
Big Ten's going to be a bloodbath in Indianapolis. I mean, that tournament, I'm not going to say anyone can win it because I find it hard to believe a Northwestern Penn State's going to make a run. But
look at the women's tournament.
Yeah. I mean, you see Penn State go down early in the women's tournament. You could easily see a team like Wisconsin or Michigan State lose pretty early to, one of those teams. But Nebraska has a chance in this thing. I don't think you can look at any team in the Big Ten and say, well, Nebraska will lose to them. They've obviously proven they can beat Michigan State. They've proven they could get so close to Michigan. And Wisconsin, we'll see what happens tonight, but it at least looks like Nebraska has a chance against Wisconsin. I think they could fare very well. I don't know if they're good enough and consistent enough to win 3 straight games against top-notch competition, not in Pinnacle Bank Arena, but you never know. This team has surprised us a lot this year. It wouldn't shock me if they surprise us one more time in Indianapolis.
Doug, let's say that Nebraska does not get into the NCAA tournament. They get gypped or something happens. They just lose out, and then the bracketologists, for lack of a better term, just decide that not to give it to Nebraska. Can the Huskers have a long run in the NIT, which is what certainly looks to be where Nebraska is a sure lock in there right now? And if they do have a long run, how do they do?
Well, if you listen to Real Talk with Jon Kipper a couple weeks ago, I brought this up, and John kind of chewed me out for it. But I think if the Huskers don't end up making it to the NCAA tournament, they're going to be playing quite a few games in the NIT. They would be a high-seeded team in the NIT. They would most likely get some home court games. And in the event that happens, the Huskers are just money on home court. I think, you got to look at it as it's a negative that they didn't make the NCAA tournament, but it is a young team, and they would have more chances to play games together. They would build more chemistry. They would be in postseason play. I think, it's a win-win situation because you're not necessarily losing. Everyone wants to get into the tournament, but if you're a young team trying to figure out your identity and just solve the puzzle of how to play well together, maybe a few more games is better for you. So, hey, if we make it to the NIT, there's no shame in that, and this team can learn a lot from itself playing in those games.
Kipper, a lot of home court advantage in the NIT, and Wade, does that, is it really a knock on Nebraska if they don't make the NCAA tournament, but they get more games here at Pinnacle Bank because they're in the NIT?
I don't think it's a knock on them. Honestly, I think the NIT is a free-for-all once you get past the first game and the higher seeds get out the easy wins. The NIT is oftentimes a letdown tournament. A team like Nebraska that fought hard all the way to the end, those teams seem to be the most susceptible to go down in the first couple of rounds. But I don't disagree with Doug. You can very well make the argument Nebraska would be one of the favorites to win that tournament, as are usually the final 4 teams out on the bracketology on wherever you're finding it. I don't think it's a bad season. The last few weeks here, people have been talking tournament. It might be initial letdown, but I think deep run in the NIT was what kind of something was best scenario when this season started. So I think I'll take that if I'm a Husker fan.
We'll take a break, and we will come back, and when we do, we will break down Nebraska's schedule starting from Game 1 all the way up until Wednesday's victory against Indiana. That's the schedule for Nebraska, and it's coming up next on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Husker Countdown pregame show, men's basketball style on 90.3 KRNU.
Stick around. More pregame coverage is next on the University of Nebraska's radio station, 90.3 KRNU.
Oh hey, it's me, your friendly neighborhood trumpet player, and I'm a proud member of several of the UNL bands. There's a ton of bands UNL has to offer. The Cornhusker Marching Band, the Wind Ensemble, the Symphonic Band, campus bands, and the pep band, the Big Red Express. So you should definitely come see me and other great musicians live in the bands of the Higson Lead College of Fine and Performing Arts. There's a band for everyone, so what are you waiting for? Check out your favorite UNL band today.
The next Mayor Ritma Ross Media Arts Center's movie countdown has begun. UNL's Ross Media Center presents a variety of movies, videos, films, and documentaries. The Ross doesn't only offer you an alternative to commercial film and television fare, but also a time to sit back and enjoy the creative art of cinema. So take a break or go on a date at the Mary Ritma Ross Media Arts Center. For showtimes, visit the Ross Media Arts Center's website, theross.org. That's theross.org.
If you need your prescription filled, but don't have the cash that most other stores in your area are asking, stop into the University Health Center Pharmacy. Most things are priced lower than your community store rates. The Health Center Pharmacy is located on the main level of the Health Center at 15th and U Street, making it accessible for all students. Call 472-7457 or stop by today. Do not make the mistake of paying too much for your prescription.
Tune in to every Husker men's and women's basketball game online at krnu.unl.edu and 90.3 KRNU.
Welcome you back here to the Husker Countdown pregame show on 90.3 KRNU from the Pinnacle Bank Arena. Men's basketball game today, Huskers and Badgers. As we move to the non-conference part of Nebraska's schedule and taking a look at that, and Jon Kipper, I'll start with you. Charleston Classic, an interesting series there. We saw Nebraska go in a 96-90 loss to UMass, and then a loss to UAB, then they win over Georgia, this coming after a 3-game winning streak to start out the season. Did the Charleston Classic really hurt Nebraska in any way?
Well, the UAB loss is one of the worst losses of the year, and that hurt them. Georgia win is it's essentially like beating Miami. It's essentially like beating Penn State Northwestern. What helped them in the Charleston Classic was the fact that they played UMass. Yes, they lost, but they did play them close, and that helps massively on the RPI because UMass is a top 25 team. And so that Charleston Classic did help quite a bit, I think. I don't know if it's significant help, but playing UMass that early on, I think, challenged Nebraska quite a bit. They played horrible defensively, and that gave Miles fuel to get them to play defense. And now you watch them much, much, much better defensively. They're constantly making teams force up shots at the end of shot clocks. That's obviously the sign of good defense. So I think that Charleston Classic woke them up in that aspect.
Wade Hilligoss, how bad were those losses to Creighton and Cincinnati before non-conference play ended?
It's kind of like what Jon said. The UAB loss was terrible, but the Creighton and the Cincinnati losses, you can kind of stomach that. I mean, if you look at the schedule, Nebraska has, it's 43rd in the country in strength of schedule. I mean, it was at one point in the top 20. They've only lost to 3 teams this year who haven't at one point been in the top 25. They lost to UMass, who's been in the top 25. Creighton, of course, a good team. Cincinnati was in the top 25. Iowa, Ohio State, once you start getting into conference play. So those losses to Cincinnati and Creighton, you wish they were a little closer, I think is really what it comes down to, kind of like what Jon said with the UMass game. It keeps coming back to the Penn State game and then that UAB game. You said, Jon, worst loss of the season. Those are the kind of games, every year you have one you want back. I mean, conference games are important, but that UAB game really hurts the RPI, which counts this time of the season.
Doug Lowery, we move to the important wins for Nebraska non-conference. How important were those wins against Miami and Florida Gulf Coast?
Well, I think Florida Gulf Coast had more to do with a good start to the season. I think Miami was a solid win all around. Florida Gulf Coast hasn't been the greatest this year. In fact, they lost today. But I think the Florida Gulf Coast game kind of got the pace set and let everyone know what to expect. Got the Pinnacle Bank Arena ready, got all the students ready, showed them that, hey, we can be a good team. But I think that Miami game, which was nationally televised, and Miami was a great team last year. Yeah, they lost some players and that left, but I think that Miami game surely, put us a little bit more on the map, and we won, in the ACC Big Ten Challenge, we won our game, which is something that I don't think Nebraska had done since they joined the Big Ten.
Finally, Jon Kipper, overall looking at the non-conference schedule, of course, good wins there for Nebraska here and there. Was it helpful for Nebraska going in and looking back at it all before Big Ten play began and looking at it as a whole after what we've seen with the whole conference? Was it very helpful or not?
Well, when you look at the non-conference schedule, Nebraska didn't help himself in terms of wins. They didn't get any marquee non-conference wins. So you'll hear all the time, Nebraska didn't have a good non-conference schedule. Well, they had a good non-conference schedule. They played Creighton, like Wade was saying, UMass, and Cincinnati, other teams like that. That helps, and that got Nebraska, I hesitate to say got them ready for the Big Ten, because once Nebraska got into Big Ten play, they struggled mightily. But I think those early games maybe helped Nebraska get out of their Big Ten funk earlier. And so I wouldn't call it a successful non-conference, because that's obviously the biggest impediment for Nebraska making the tournament, but it might have fueled their run later on in the season.
Let's switch over to conference, and as you said, a rough start, really 4 losses in a row to start out non-conference play. That added to a 5-game losing streak overall if you throw in the Cincinnati game there. I'll start, Doug, I'll start with you. 0-4 starts, I just said. How bad was that for Nebraska?
it was bad for things like the RPI and wins, losses, but I think it was good for the team itself because they had to lose. You have to lose to be able to pick yourself back up, and that's what this team has shown they can do time and time again. So, yes, it was a very bad start to the Big Ten season because they needed to be winning games, especially now you look back and you think, man, I really wish we would have won a lot of those games. But I think losing sparked something inside of this team, especially a guy like Teran Petaway who just hates to lose. I think he hates to lose more than he likes to win, and that's an age-old saying, but I do think it's true with him. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. It was bad that they lost, and it's hurting them now trying to get them into the tournament. But we got to ask, would they still be the same team hadn't they lost and had to strive to come back from those losses?
Wade, do you think that a win over Michigan would have made a difference?
The fact that they would have beaten Michigan and Michigan State, and if they win tonight, they would have beaten the top 3 teams in the conference, and they'd arguably be sitting in the 2nd or 3rd spot. I mean, yeah, you can play the what-if game, but on the flip side, the what-if game of, what if Nebraska had lost to, Minnesota. Indiana, those 2 games, January 26th and 30th, I think were the turning point of the season. Those are 2 teams that were higher up in the conference rankings than Nebraska. 2 teams that at points in the season have flirted with the top 25. I believe Indiana was ranked at one point. So I think those are the games that you really have to, sit back and say, hey, pat yourselves on the back. You took those games. Would you like to beat Michigan? Probably. But then for every Michigan, there's a Penn State on the road. For every Michigan State on the road, there's a Purdue on the road. So this team has been inconsistent, and it's hard to get a gauge when you do the what-if game.
Jon Kipper, I know we've really kind of talked about this overall, but any other bad losses that this team suffered that really could have hurt them?
Purdue and Penn State, both those teams aren't great, but they're not bad either. They both had over 5 conference wins. And the Big Ten's a conference that there's no dominant team, but everyone's fairly good. Therefore, yes, they're on the bottom half of the conference, but they're pretty good. So UAB is really the only one that I look at in the schedule and cringe a little bit. Creighton loss was bad in terms of how bad they lost, and the score doesn't even indicate how bad that game was. Creighton kind of let Nebraska come back a little bit in the second half. I have a feeling Creighton could have won that game by 45 points. So those 2 losses I really point to. The Penn State and Purdue losses I don't think were that big of a deal.
Wait, Hilligoss, I'll ask you this. What game would you say, getting to a brighter side now for this team, what was the game that was the momentum changer for the Huskers?
Well, I was here for both Minnesota and Indiana, and kind of like I said, those 2 games it was kind of the pivot point of the year. They were coming off 2 bad losses, Purdue and Penn State on the road, while also pulling out a victory against Ohio State here. So they were kind of establishing potentially another year of that up and down team you can't really rely on. And then all of a sudden, 2 wins against a couple good teams. Then they go on the road and get blown out of Michigan, but that's where the winning streak started. 5 games in a row, won 9 of 11, starting with Minnesota and Indiana. So the end of January is where they really kind of pivoted the season and turned it around. Those are the 2 I kind of look at.
Doug, your thoughts?
I think there's a bunch of games here that you can talk about with momentum. Obviously, I'm going to go with Michigan State, actually, though. That's a game where you go on the road to a very hostile environment. You come out with the victory. They were pumped up after that game. It kind of probably said to them, in the locker room, hey, we can go in and beat anyone on their home court, because to go into Michigan State, to go into East Lansing and come out with the victory is not easy to do. Heavily underestimated in that game, so I think that's the game I would go with.
Since that blowout loss at Michigan, the Huskers won 5 in a row. They are 7-1 since that Michigan game. And the wins just continuing to surprise a lot of people right now, as, again, Nebraska being talked about in getting to the NCAA tournament in Tim Miles' 2nd year. We will talk more about this team coming up on the other side of the break. We are about under 26 minutes and counting to go till tip-off here at the Pinnacle Bank Arena. It's Nebraska and Wisconsin, and you are listening to the Husker Countdown pregame show on 90.3 KRNU.
Stay tuned. Husker Countdown will return after this break on Nebraska's student radio station 90.3 KRNU.
I don't understand this.
What is it?
Sociology?
Well, why don't you get a tutor?
Because I don't have that kind of money right now. Well, you should check out OASIS, the Office of Academic Support and Intercultural Services. They offer study skills sessions, mentoring, and tutoring for students.
OASIS? Oh yeah, I've heard of it, but isn't it only for students of color?
No, it does place an emphasis on supporting students of color, but it's not just limited to only minorities. You should call 472-7725 for more information.
Whether college graduation is in a few months or in a few years, gaining hands-on experience in your field of interest is a must. While a college degree is a fruitful step towards acquiring a top-tier career, today's employers are looking for college grads that already have some experience under their belt. Here at Husker HireLink, we're here to ensure that you're the person they're looking for. By simply uploading your current resume and skills, we can connect you with hundreds of employers seeking to hire college students to fill their intern, part-time, and full-time positions. Log on to HuskerHireLink.com today to get started.
Everyone enjoys the great outdoors. You or someone you know can make it even more enjoyable by getting involved with the Arbor Day Foundation. The Arbor Day Foundation has grown to become the largest nonprofit membership organization dedicated to planting trees. Over 1 million members, supporters, and valued partners accompany the Arbor Day Foundation. By volunteering with the Arbor Day Foundation, you can breathe easy knowing that you're making a difference. For more information on how to get involved, call toll-free at 1-888-448-7337. That's 1-888-448-7337.
You're listening to Nebraska Cornhusker Basketball on 90.3 KRNU Lincoln.
Welcome back to the Husker Countdown pregame show. Coming up on 23 minutes till tip-off. Actually, really till the national anthem and then tip-off here at the Pinnacle Bank Arena. Nebraska and the 9th-ranked Wisconsin Badgers getting set in store for tonight. Now we move to talking about the Nebraska basketball team in general. And, Doug, I'll ask you this. We obviously know that Tim Miles has made a bigger impact than I think anybody in the state could have possibly imagined, and even anybody really in the Big Ten. My question to you is, getting into the players, who do you think has made the difference as far as players go?
Well, I'm going to go with the obvious one for my first. I'm going to say Teran Petaway. Obviously scoring double digits every game this season besides, I think, one or two. He's just kind of a team leader, an effort guy, an emotion guy. And then you get a guy like Walter Pitchford, who's 6'10", shoots the three, and moves around a lot. You could pick a bunch of different people.
Jon Kipper?
I'm going to say a less obvious one, and Benny Parker. Just the fact that the spark he provides coming off the bench, the fact that Nebraska lost Devereaux Biggs in the middle of Big Ten play, and Ty Webster has developed slower than people thought he would. Parker's been able to come in, been just an energizer bunny defensively, gets all sorts of steals, and is just a pest and just bothers other teams. And that is so vital. He doesn't score a lot of points. The really only points he scores is off fast breaks. When he gets his steals, gets defensive plays made. So I'm going to say Benny Parker just because he provides defense, and that's one of the main reasons why Nebraska is in this position.
Wade Hilligoss, by the way, we thank Doug Lowery for joining us. He had to get back down to his seats courtside in the student section, so big thank you to Doug for joining us here. Wade, how big has the connection between Tim Miles, the players, and the fans been, and how much of an impact has it had on this season?
Oh, he's an image guy. I mean, we've seen it, night in and night out. If you've ever been to he holds his coach's show in a bar down by the arena. People flock to that. He entertains the masses with just joke after joke. I mean, it's really literally, when you have like a politician and they talk about the politician going straight to the constituency. I mean, Tim Miles is as connected to his fan base as we've ever seen a coach here at Nebraska, or we've seen a coach around college basketball, really. I mean, you see a lot of those guys who really interact with their fan bases, and I think this is one of the first ones here at Nebraska. I think that's one of the draws of Tim Miles when his resume passed the desk of Tom Osborne before T.O. left university. I think that's one of the big draws that Tim Miles was. So I think it's a huge aspect of this season. I mean, he declared today no sit Sunday, I believe. You might not get that from Doc Sadler. I mean, students would get emails, but the tweeting, the things in press conferences, the
showing up at the preseason hype fest and, joking around about the players in front of fans the entire time. That's the kind of stuff that really builds a rapport, and I think that's been a huge part of people being interested in Husker basketball this season. John, you and I were talking as we walked up to the Pinnacle Bank Arena today. There were probably, 200-300 people just waiting in line to get in the student section. Then you had about another 150 people just lounging around, sitting outside. It's a nice day, waiting for the basketball gates to open. Then you had another couple hundred just walking around in the Haymarket waiting to go to the game. That's not the kind of atmosphere that we're used to seeing in Lincoln, and I think that's a big part of what Tim Miles has brought to this university.
And Wade, I want to ask you, since we had Kipper and Doug's thoughts on players, your thoughts on the player who has made a difference for this team.
David Rivers is my answer. I think that he's been underrated as one of the keys to the last 10 games for this team. When he started starting in the place of Ray Gallegos, down the line there, the defense is what it comes down to. He's one of those guys. It's like an interior lineman in the NFL. You don't always, a casual fan doesn't always notice the impact of those guys. But when you take a minute to stop and watch Rivers play the game, he will impress you every time down the court. He's either banging for a board, diving for something, trying to save a ball from going out of bounds. He only will score a couple of points for you per game, but that's not why he's in there. Tim Miles likes him for every reason beyond scoring, and I'm becoming a bigger and bigger fan of Rivers every time I see him play in person.
Rivers was a guy that was in the doghouse early in the year, too. Never really said why, but it seemed after that he was much more motivated to come out and play better defense, rebound. Those are his two things. He hasn't improved points-wise since that's happened, but I think that really woke him up and got him to play much better.
Moving on to Tim Miles himself, we mentioned he's obviously had such a huge connection with this fan base and with the players and everything here at Nebraska. Kipper, I'll start with you first. Does Tim Miles' future get extended here or shortened?
Interesting question. Extended, at this point, he's got the job as long as he wants it. I don't think he's under any threat of being fired. I mean, college basketball is a world where you can go downhill quick, but you have the idea that he has as much time as he wants here. Your question, obviously, with could another team come swipe him? Maybe. But teams, big-time teams right now, there's not a lot of teams around college basketball like that will have openings, at least in the foreseeable future. You never know if, like, a Jim Boeheim's going to retire or something. But those are really the only schools that would pose a big threat. The Kentucky, Syracuse, UCLA's, schools of that nature that would be a big-time enticing thing for him to go. If it's just a little bit better program than Nebraska, why do you go? You have a fan base here that's fantastic. I'm sure Nebraska will pay him as much as he wants. You have a great recruiting tool in the arena and the practice facility. I only see him leaving for a big-time school, and even at that, all his roots are in the Midwest, or in upper Midwest, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, Colorado. And I don't know if he goes out to the East Coast to Syracuse or if he goes out to the West Coast to Arizona, a school of that nature. It just doesn't fit him as well. So this might be a place where he just decides, I'm going to spend the rest of my career here and do well.
And literally 6 years left on the contract, and he has a built-in raise every year. So, if you're looking for a raise, he's going to get it automatically. He's got all kinds of built-in incentives that not every coach has. He can make millions of dollars on Nebraska making runs in the tournament. So if he's got the kind of coaching acumen where he's going to take a team deep, Nebraska's going to pay him well, just as well as, unless you go to a top 2 or 3 school like a Kansas or something like that. And really, they have the pick of the litter, and I don't think that's where Tim Miles is at this point.
We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we will break down the Wisconsin Badgers, who come into this game as, really the second best team in the Big Ten, as Ohio State did defeat Michigan State earlier, not long ago, 69-67. So that leaves the Badgers as the second best team for right now in the Big Ten. We'll talk about them when we come back here in the Husker Countdown pregame show on 90.3 KRNU.
Stick around. More pregame coverage is next on the University of Nebraska's radio station, 90.3 KRNU.
I got smart about mortgages. Now it's my house I go home to.
I got smart about credit cards. Now paper or plastic has a whole new meaning.
When it comes to your money, whatever you want to get smart about, you can find it at smartaboutmoney.org. Smartaboutmoney.org is a free online resource from the National Endowment for Financial Education. We're an independent nonprofit foundation dedicated to helping people just like you get sound information about money. Smartaboutmoney.org. It's the easy place to start when you want to get smart.
If you're experiencing anxiety, depression, grief, or are even just homesick, try talking to a friendly professional at CAPS, your university's counseling and psychological service. They offer individual and group services to any registered student at UNL. International students, that means you too. Just call your University Health Center on City Campus anytime Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The services are easy and confidential, and the best part is the first 3 sessions are free. Go online at health.unl.edu/caps.
Hey, I saw you at the UNL Rec Center the other day.
Yeah, I was at the climbing wall.
The climbing wall? Whoa, I've always wanted to try that, but it sounds really dangerous.
It's really not. As a student, you get 1 free climb every semester, and the staff are trained to keep you climbing secure. But if you want to be a regular like me, you can take a climbing basics class for only $20 and climb all you want for a whole year. You learn about the equipment, how to properly belay another climber, and how to tie knots.
Awesome. That sounds super rad. Are they open every day?
Yeah, it's the best. They're open from 2 to 10 Monday through Thursday and 2 to 8 Friday through Sunday. You should definitely check it out.
Yeah, man, totally will.
Start your own adventure with the UNL Campus Recreation Center and Outdoor Adventures. Visit us on the 2nd floor of the rec or go to crec.unl.edu/outdoor.
Tune in to every Husker men's and women's basketball game online at krnu.unl.edu and 90.3 KRNU.
Welcome back to the Husker Countdown pregame show on 90.3 KRNU as Nebraska and Wisconsin now coming up on 13 minutes until tip-off, or really till the national anthem, about 2, 3, 4 more minutes until the tip-off here as the fans roaring right now for this Nebraska basketball team as they head back to the locker room. They're about finished with warm-ups right now, or they are finished with warm-ups. They have about 5 more minutes left to go as far as the warm-up routines go before we get set for the national anthem. Let's talk about the Wisconsin Badgers, a team that had won 16 games in a row. Gentlemen, Ryan Swanigan, Jon Kipper, and Wade Hilligoss joining me before January 14th, and then they ran into a stretch where they went 1-5 from the 14th all the way through February 1st before picking up again and getting back on an 8-game winning streak. And Kipper, I'll ask you, there are a lot of strong starters on this Wisconsin team. Which one of them, other than Frank Kaminsky, is really the strong challenge that Nebraska is going to face?
Wisconsin's a team where if they get hot from the three-point line, they can not only beat anyone in the country, but it's hard for anyone to beat them, anybody. And Josh Gasser, Big Ten play, 48% from the three-point line. That is absurd. And if he gets hot here, that's going to quiet the home crowd, and it's going to deflate the Nebraska team in general unless Ray Gallegos or Pittsburgh or someone else is getting just as hot. So he has the most ability out of anyone I see on the team to take the life out of the arena, and I think he's the guy people should watch out the most, Josh Gasser.
Wade Hilligoss, your thoughts?
You know, I have a hard time picking one because, like Jon said, I look at this team. I look at the starting 5. I look at Kaminsky, Decker, Bursch, Jackson, Gosser. They almost all average double digits. 4 of them are in double digits, and then you have Gosser, who's 9.4 points a game. So who's going to beat you? Well, they could all on any given night. I also look at the three-point shooting percentage. Gosser, Jackson, Burst, and Decker are all good three-point shooters. In fact, Gosser's a 46% three-point shooter. And so I kind of echo what Jon said. If any one of those 4 guys gets hot, that's what you're going to have problems with. So I think that when you're looking at one guy, that's where Wisconsin's going to get you. You can't game plan around one guy because then 3 or 4 of the other starters are going to step up and have a good game.
A video right now being played on the video board to honor the 2 seniors tonight for Nebraska, which are Ray Gallegos and Mike Peltz. Now, the question here, we obviously know how strong the starters are for Wisconsin. Jon Kipper, I'll start with you. How helpful is their bench?
Yeah, their bench is excellent. All the starters on the team have started every single game. That's something pretty unique, but guys like Nigel Hayes, Bronson Koenig are very, very vital to this team and provide points. I mean, Koenig not as much. Nigel Hayes, though, brings points off the bench. Koenig can come in and do some good things, get assists, and play defense. And so this team is deep, and they can keep throwing guys at you. Nebraska's going to have all sorts of problems, but really you look at their starting five, and I'll throw Hayes in, and those are the two guys that Nebraska really, really should key in on.
Wade Hilligoss, your thoughts?
I really like Nigel Hayes. 26 steals this season in limited time. He only plays 18 minutes a game. They really only have 7 guys who play a lot of minutes, 8 in total in their rotation, kind of like Nebraska. So they're a short team. So to kind of probably foreshadow a little bit, I'm sure we'll talk about this later, but getting Wisconsin in foul trouble early could be a huge boon to Nebraska's chances.
Jon Kipper, any weaknesses with this Wisconsin team? I mean, it seems like if the Badgers can go in a 3-game slide against Indiana, Michigan, and Minnesota, and then lose at home against Northwestern, and then lose to Ohio State, 2 home games there in a row, I mean, it seems like there's got to be some way that Wisconsin can be beat. There should be a weakness of some sort that the Huskers could utilize today to beat them. Is there one, is the question.
Yeah, it's really hard to say because offensively, this team is insane. 5th in the nation in efficiency, 3rd in the nation in points. They are 1st in the nation in turnovers and fouls. They don't turn the ball over. They don't foul you very much. Nebraska has to play a near-perfect game. One thing they can do is score points. Wisconsin's defense is a little bit lenient. It's not a bad defense, 4th in Big Ten. But if Nebraska's going to win this game, I think they got to get points a little bit higher. That's the way you can beat Wisconsin. They don't have a big, powerful center down low. Obviously, Nebraska doesn't either. But maybe they can get some inside shots. I think really that's their only weakness. I just don't see a whole lot otherwise.
Sunday's matchup is the 21st meeting between these two programs. And, of course, the series, why not? It's tied. 10-10, literally it's tied. In a rivalry which dates back more than a century, the Huskers will look to snap the 5-game losing streak to the Badgers dating back to November of 1998. It's the last time before that was the last time the Huskers won. Wisconsin, by the way, has won the 4 meetings since Nebraska has been Big Ten members. And they are 5-3 all-time in Lincoln, while tonight's meeting is the only regular season matchup of this year. As Tim Miles speaking to the crowd, and now the seniors, Ray Gallegos and Mike Peltz, talking to the fans. Let's listen in.
And finally, Mike Peltz. My note cards out here right now, but I'd like to thank my family for all their support, my coaches, my teammates, and especially all of you for making this place so special. This experience is more than I've ever imagined, and you guys are the reason why this place is so tough to play. So I want to say thank you to you guys first off. Also, a big thank you to Coach Miles for giving me the opportunity to play here. Give out my dreams. Thank you. A little more on my note cards, but this is only the beginning of a new era of Husker basketball, and I'm definitely thankful and proud to be a part of it. There's more. On another note, I don't really like dancing, but I think it's time we all put our shoes on and get ready for that game. One more thing. You all know the rules for tonight, and there's no sitting or kneeling of any kind. But I gotta make an exception real quick.
Mike Peltz is on one knee right now. And I'm very certain that she just said yes. How about that, gentlemen?
You don't see this before a basketball game very much.
We've got about 5 minutes to go.
I thought he was up to something because he made it sound like there was like something big he was going to say left on his note card.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And the ring is hard. They're having a hard time getting it on, but she said yes. And this place was already electric. Everyone's in their seat. Everyone's standing. And you heard Peltz say no sitting. I mean, that was a clever way to do it, but this place is already electric. And we got 5 minutes before the game. This is the first time I've seen this all season.
This is just absolutely incredible. Mike Peltz. I don't know who his girlfriend is.
Let me pose this question, though. Could this throw players off, having all this attention where a lot of times you're very focused on the game at that point? They're laughing, they're making jokes, they're proposing to marry their girlfriends. And all these players are going nuts. I don't know how they're going to respond at the beginning of the game if their head's not completely in it right now, or if this loosens them up and they just play more free. That's going to be something to watch.
Let's not also forget, too, this is usually when Nebraska goes out onto the court to begin their final warm-up session. Wisconsin has already entered out there. Here's another question. Did this throw off Wisconsin, too? Because that also possibly, that was a little bit of a longer delay.
They did run off. They did run off as soon as that was over, so you got to imagine they were kind of paying attention to it. I don't know. I mean, these things we don't know until the game starts. Neither of us can give a definite answer to it, but I think if anything, it's going to throw Nebraska off because they're more attached to what just happened.
I don't think it's going to be an issue for two reasons. Peltz, I mean, I hate to say it, but Peltz isn't going to play a lot in this game.
Yeah.
If it were Teron Petaway or something, then it might have a bigger effect. I don't think it's going to affect it in that way. I think, too, I don't think it was a secret to the guys. I think they were all excited to see it. I think they knew it was happening, and now they can focus on basketball.
What a crazy series of events here. We'll keep it right here, and I guess we might as well just go into the predictions for this game as another pump-up video being played here at the Pinnacle Bank Arena. And as we look around, every single seat was filled. And Jon Kipper, you and I were here for that first home game.
Yep.
And only from about section 311, 312, maybe a little bit of 310 and 313. That was the only area that seemed to show empty seats in this place. Everything is completely filled. There is standing room back over here on the concourse to our left.
People
to our
behind
right,
us.
There's people behind us. There's an overflow area. It is just unbelievable.
More media than we've seen at a game all season.
Exactly. So
probably not. I wouldn't say double, but double some of the early games. Just overflow behind us. There is a lot of national attention. This has been talked about on SportsCenter beforehand. That's something Nebraska fans aren't used to about their basketball program. So they're excited, and they all showed up.
Kipper, what's going to happen?
This arena is so energetic right now. The crowd is going to be pushing Nebraska so far. Wisconsin, key to the game, get the crowd out early. Nebraska, opposite. Get them in early, start off with a lead, or at least keep it close. I think this game's going to go down to the wire. I can't imagine any team pulling away. Wisconsin, I said earlier, though, they don't make mistakes. They don't turn the ball over. They don't commit many fouls. They're very efficient offensively. In the end, I think that's going to put them a little bit over the edge over Nebraska, and I think they just barely beat them, similar to something that we saw in the Michigan game earlier this year. Nebraska plays very well, but comes out just a little bit short. I will say
go ahead,
80-78.
Wade Hilligoss.
They used to call me the buzzkill when I played because I could kill it.
Now I'm doing that.
I think that if Nebraska has, John, you said it earlier, perfect game. They have to pitch a perfect game today. Or I hate to say they don't have a shot without a perfect game because this is a good team, a better team than we've seen on Nebraska in a long time. If I had to predict, I'm going to say Wisconsin wins by double digits, like a 70-58 kind of game. I hate saying that because it's it's hard for us to stand here and see everyone so excited and be realistic. But unless Nebraska wins the first 5 minutes of the first half, the first 5 minutes of the second half, gets multiple Wisconsin starters in foul trouble in both halves, doesn't foul. I mean, Nebraska has fouled so much in the last few games to the point where they were in the double bonus in both halves with like 5 or 6 minutes to go. I mean, they just got to play a perfect game.
That is it for the Husker Countdown pregame show, and we thank Brent Bonfleur for engineering the pregame show, and he will have the game as well. The national anthem is ready to go here. We will take a break. We will be back after this. Thanks to Wade Hilligoss and Doug Lowery for joining us. They'll join us for the postgame show as well. National anthem time as we will take a break. We will be back with Nebraska and Wisconsin after this on 90.3 KRNU.
Stay tuned. Husker Countdown will return after this break on Nebraska's student radio station 90.3 KRNU.
Do you need more love in your life? No, seriously. If you're a UNL student, check out the Don L. Love Memorial Library located on the south side of UNL City campus. Love Library offers quiet locations for self-study, large areas for group study, computers, Wi-Fi, and of course, lots of books. So what's the one love no UNL student can go without?
I love Love Library.
I love Love Library.
We love Love Library.
And the next question is, what do a cookie, a stick of gum, and a French fry have in common?
Oh, you eat them!
You find them between couch cushions?
No! They all cost more than filing your taxes. When you use IRS Free File, it's free. Get a choice of brand name software and help if you need it. Join the 40 million people who have already saved. Free File. It's fast, it's safe, it's free. Get started at freefile.irs.gov.
Hey, I'm drunk. Can you drive?
I don't know, man. I had like 10 beers before Cosmopolitan. What do you think?
You're good.
Unfortunately, this decision is all too common among college students. NU on Wheels offers UNL students a safe, dependable, and free ride home from any location in the Lincoln area. Just call 475-RIDE and you can get a free ride home.
The following is a sports presentation of 90.3 KRNU.
Shields will pull up from 3, and it's good. Siobhan Shields hasn't played much for the Huskers this year, but he's had a big impact on this game.
Now take the pick and roll from Almeida, gets it in deep, and Almeida scoops it right in for the layup.
Pretty bounce pass from Parker right there, low enough to avoid the steal, and right there for Almeida for the layup.
Moore drive in, passes to Katie, outside to an open Terrio for 3. Got it in! Beautiful three-point shot, beautiful movement of the ball by Nebraska. Brandon Ubell with it at the top of the key, drives in the lane and gets the bucket and the foul! Oh, baby! Devaney exploding right now, and twice in the last minute, Ubell drives, gets the layup, and one. Big performance by the senior tonight.
Now, live from the Pinnacle Bank Arena in downtown Lincoln, this is Nebraska basketball.
For Wisconsin, and now it's Nebraska's turn. Let's get you the starting lineups for the Badgers. Ben Brust, a 6'1 senior guard. Trayvon Jackson, a 6'2 junior guard. Sam Decker, a 6'7 sophomore forward, as well as Josh Gosser, a 6'3 junior guard, and finally the big man who can do it all, the 6'11 junior forward, Frank Comiskey for Nebraska. As the starting lineups are yet to be announced for them, but we have the honor of having the stats broadcast with us in front of us. So for the Huskers, the 6'4 freshman guard, Ty Webster, followed by the 6'6 sophomore guard / forward, Teron Petaway. The senior, 6'2 senior guard, Ray Gallegos behind him. 6'7" sophomore guard forward, Siobhan Shields, and of course, the 6'10" sophomore forward, Teron Petaway.
Interesting, Ryan. 1 second.
Go ahead.
No David Rivers starting, Ray Gallegos instead. I'm just going to chalk that up to him being a senior, but Rivers took that spot from him earlier in the year. Maybe Gallegos starts out hot early. I said Nebraska needs to get the fans in it early. Gallegos is the guy that can do that for Nebraska.
Ryan Swanigan, and he is Jon Kipper. And the Huskers still being announced on this incredibly huge basketball game here at the Pinnacle Bank Arena. As I said earlier, you cannot find an empty seat in this building. It is jam-packed. Every single level, every single seat filled. The lower level, the upper deck, the concourses, it's all filled. Student section has students in front of the student section on the far baseline. And the starting lineups, as I said, have been officially announced. And another note to pass along, we said this earlier, but those of you who missed it, Ohio State defeating number 22 Michigan State 69-67. So that has some implications for really Nebraska, who needs to win this game to have that 4th seed. Now here's this, Kipper. If the Huskers do lose this game, there's a chance that Nebraska could still have the 4th seed because they split games with Ohio State. So I'm not sure how that would all work out, but there's a chance Nebraska could get that 4th seed. I don't know if you know, but I know I don't know.
I'm not exactly sure. It does look like since Ohio State won, if Nebraska loses, they have the 5. The game notes that Nebraska media the Nebraska Media Relations provided does say Nebraska has the 5. If Ohio State wins, Nebraska loses. So unless this is wrong, Nebraska gets 5.
The tip, Wisconsin wins. We're underway. Badgers with it inside. That's Decker. Now back out to Jackson. Back inside to Decker. Shields on him. Spin move. Off the glass, no good. Pitchford with the rebound. Here comes Petaway up the right side. Huskers going from left to right on your radio dial. Now swinging it over to Shields. Back to Petaway. Still moving left. In front of the Wisconsin bench is Ty Webster. Looking that way. Swings it right to Gallegos. Back left to Shields. Petaway in front of Bo Ryan and the Wisconsin bench. Now Webster, top of the key, moving left. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Ty Webster trying to spin inside. Can't. Shields gets it now. Drives inside. Lays it up off the glass and in. Huskers on the board first. Now here comes Wisconsin. Jackson over to Decker. Now Brust inside. And almost stepping out of bounds was Jackson. Tips it. Shields back to Decker. Over to Josh Gosser for 3, and it's good. And Wisconsin takes the lead. 3-2 on the 3-point shot by Josh Gosser.
That's what he does. Shoots threes, makes them. He gets hot. Nebraska might be in trouble.
Now Ty Webster right side. Over to Pitchford inside. Over to Petaway. Lost it. Picks it up. With Gosser covering him. Inside, Petaway drives, off the glass, lays it in again. Husker lead 4-3. Now here come the Badgers again. It's Jackson. And now Frank Comiskey outside the arc. Over to Gosser. With Petaway on him. Jackson trying to get it out to Brust. He does. Over to Decker. Inside, Frank Comiskey. Pitch on him. Lays it up. No good. Ty Webster gets the rebound. Up the right side again for Webster. Over to Pitchford for 3. Good! 7-3 Nebraska. Walter Pitchford gets his first shot of the game. It's a 3-pointer. Now here come the Badgers, Kipper.
3 possessions for Nebraska, 7 points. Impressive so far.
Comiskey driving inside. Again in trouble, has to get it out to Jackson. And he's still in trouble, has to pull back out once more. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Listen to this crowd. Jackson again. Frank Comiskey, top of the key, drives inside, lost the ball. Shields saves it. Pitchford now picks it up. Nebraska gets it back. Petaway up the left side now. Pulls up with a three. Good!
This place is going bonkers right now, Ryan. Holy cow. Wisconsin has to call a timeout. Students just jumping in the air, going nuts. No one sat down yet, by the way.
Nobody has sat down. It's unbelievable here at the Pinnacle Bank Arena. 17:09 left, 10-3 Nebraska. What a start for the Huskers. Just what everybody in this place needed.
Yeah.
The Badgers have only one shot. It's a three-pointer from Josh Gosser. Other than that, the Huskers are 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. 100% across the board.
Defensively, Ryan, yes, they're awesome offensively so far. 4 for 4 on their offensive possessions. But defensively, they're just floating around. They're diving on the ground, going for steals. They have unbelievable energy coming into this game. Wisconsin so far is flat.
This is just unbelievable. You hear Nigel Hayes' name announced. He is into the game, so he joins Trayvon Jackson, as well as Decker, Comiskey, and Gosser. Brust in, Decker out, I should say. Inside Comiskey on Pitchford, guarding him well. Out to Brust, faking the three again. He's still got it. Inside again to Comiskey. He will drive, lays it up, lays it in. Frank Comiskey with 2 points, 10-5 Nebraska. And here's Ty Webster to bring it up. Tim Miles had the suit jacket on to start the game. It is gone now. Bo Ryan still in his suit jacket, and we'll see how long he stays in his. Shields top of the key, swings it left to Petaway on the left side wing, now moves right. Still moving right again. Pull-up shot for Petaway off the glass, no good, and rebounded by Brust. Here comes Jackson now. Still driving inside. Might have walked, did not. Shot by Hayes is no good. Comiskey gets his own rebound. And out to Gosser. Huskers playing man zone, or playing a man defense right now. Brust, Comiskey, Shields got a hand in his face, disrupted the shot. Now Hayes will drive inside, lost possession. Pulls up with a shot. It is no good, but a foul going to be called on Nebraska. I believe it's going to be on Siobhan Shields. No, Teran Petaway called for his first foul of the game.
Shows how good of a coach Bo Ryan is. Calls the timeout, settles his guys down. Wisconsin's played much better since that break. Veteran coach right there.
So Nigel Hayes at the line. Shoot 2, 1 in. 10-5. Or rather, 10-6 now. Wisconsin down by 4. Webster out, Benny Parker in. That's what the ovation is for here at the Pinnacle Bank Arena. Hayes, second shot, no good. Rebounded by Teran Petaway. Nice reach there to grab the ball out of midair. And now Benny Parker brings it up for the Huskers. We'll see how Wisconsin does against the Energizer Bunny for Nebraska. Gallegos. Shields thought about three, trying to drive inside again. Spin move, lost the ball. It's going to be out of bounds off of Wisconsin. Husker fans wanting a foul. They do not get it. And we have our first media timeout. Nebraska 10, Wisconsin 6. Huskers and the 9th-ranked Badgers here at the Pinnacle Bank Arena on 90.3 KRNU. Back after this.
Young people everywhere are making a difference.
Special Olympics has changed my life so dramatically.
It's helped me a lot to be fearless, in the real world.
My friends I've made through Special Olympics are the best people I've ever met in my life.
I truly realize that what I'm doing is for a great cause.
And it's not about disabilities, but it's about celebrating their abilities.
I've made a difference. Now it's your turn to make a difference.
Get involved at SpecialOlympics.org.
There's a wide sea of campus ministries out there, but you'll never know which one is right for you if you don't look. Check out The Navigators, a campus ministry whose goal is simply to know Christ and make Him known. Thursday nights at 7, the Navigators get together for contemporary worship and a message in the Union Auditorium. More importantly, we have Bible studies for freshmen through super seniors, fraternities, sororities, and those off campus as well. College is when you decide who you're going to be for the rest of your life. Don't let your faith fall to the wayside. Let Navigators point the way.
Do you love sports? Then you should listen to Focus Sports Talk Radio. Hi, this is Evan Troxel. Join my co-host Matt Nathan and I every Friday night from 10 p.m. to midnight on KRNU2. We will talk about the Nebraska Cornhuskers, professional sports, all the most current sports news, and much more. So join Matt and I every Friday night at 10 p.m. for 2 hours of sports fun online on KRNU2 at krnu.unl.edu.
10-6, Nebraska in front of Wisconsin here as we're at the first media timeout. Getting ready for action again. Ryan Swanigan, Jon Kipper with you from the Pinnacle Bank Arena. What a start, Kipper. I mean, my goodness, that was electric right now. And some fans still haven't even sat down. This section here to our left, everybody's still standing. And now Husker fans, or rather the student section, telling Husker fans, get back on your feet, and look at this. Everybody just rises automatically.
Yeah, everyone is really committed to this no-sit Sunday thing. Now I see section 314, people sitting up there. So not everybody, but a good portion of this crowd is into it.
Shields inbounding to Gallegos, right side corner, pulls up at the three. It's good! 13-6, just like that. Ray Gallegos on senior night with his first three-pointer of the game.
He's an X factor in this game. If he gets out from the three-point line, could be bad for Wisconsin.
Tipped in the air, Hayes got it. Now Trayvon Jackson back to Frank Comiskey, top of the key. Leslie Smith into the game for the Huskers. Jackson over to Gosser. They get it over to Bronson Koenig, who's into the game as well for the Badgers. Inside Hayes. Shields on him. Let him get some space. A shot and a basket and foul by Nigel Hayes of the Badgers.
Yeah, just went right into Shields there. Good draw by Hayes by drawing the foul. Shields didn't do all that much, but just enough. Got a little bit of arm and able to make the basket too. Again, that's a move deflating the crowd. Wisconsin's doing a pretty good job of that so far tonight.
Sam Decker and Ben Bruss check back in for the Badgers. They join Hayes, who's at the line, as well as Gosser and Bronson Koenig. Shot by Hayes off the rim. Pettaway gets the rebound. And now Parker, who brings it up, chatting with Pettaway on what they want to do here. And now Parker over to Pettaway on the right side wing. Moves left. Swings it over back to Parker. In front of the Wisconsin bench now, moves right, trying to drive inside. Can't get a shot, has to get it back out to Pettaway on the right side wing. Now moves left. Still at the top of the key, pulls up with a spot shot off the glass in an air ball to the right of the basket. Now here comes Wisconsin. Koenig brings it up for the Badgers. Brust moves left, swings it to his right, back to Koenig. Now Decker trying to get it to Hayes. Leslie Smith guarding him heavily. Inside, somehow weave through Leslie Smith and Benny Parker, and he lays it in. 13-10. Huskers up by 3 now. Parker, now Gallegos, right side wing. Moves to the top of the key. Swings it left to Parker in front of the Husker bench. Pulls up with a spot shot as Parker off the front rim. No good. Rebounded by Hayes. And now here come the Badgers, Skipper.
Huskers offensively started out hot, slowing down a little bit. Now Walter Pitchford coming in, hoping to provide a spark for Nebraska.
Koenig dumps it off to Gosser. Now Brust with it after a pass from Decker. Hayes back with it again in the left side corner, trying to drive inside. Can't. Back at the Koenig. Over to Brust, top of the key. Moves to it, or tosses it off to his right, rather. And now Decker. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Koenig in trouble. Pulls up with a shot. There's going to be a foul called on Teron Pettaway before the shot, I believe. And that's Pettaway's second of the game. He's going to come out. Pitchford and Shields check in for Nebraska. And this is going to be key, Kipper, to see if Nebraska can rely on other players other than Teron Pettaway to be in the game, as David Rivers in for Nebraska.
Yeah, guys like Rivers, Parker definitely going to have to step up. Pitchford going to have to carry the load offensively.
Tim Miles really upset about that call. He's still chirping with the ref. Hayes in front of the Nebraska bench was Jackson. Now top of the key, Brust. Gallegos on him, trying to drive. Can't. Sandwiched in between two Huskers. And now Koenig Lost the ball, 15 seconds on the shot clock. Husker fans still making noise. Top of the key is Bruss, drives inside, pulls up with a spot shot, buries it, and it's a 1-point lead for Nebraska. A long offensive possession for the Badgers. And now here comes Parker and the Huskers. Shields drives inside, gets cut off. It's going to be a foul on Wisconsin. And their first of the game.
Ref's calling a lot of fouls on Nebraska so far. Wisconsin finally gets one. But they just do play very clean defense. They're not going to foul Nebraska too much tonight.
Trayvon Jackson with his first. Shields has to dump it inside David Rivers, and a foul on Wisconsin. And that is going to be, I believe, on Sam Decker. And that is the second foul in the game for Wisconsin. Another inbounds from Shields, this time to Pitchford, left side wing. Shields will drive inside, lays it in off the glass, and it falls. No basket interference. Pitchford touched the bottom of the net.
That was really close to being basket interference.
15-12 Nebraska. Now Nigel Hayes. Brust moves left at the top of the key, swings it over to Decker. Inside to Jackson. Parker on him, double coverage. Now Brust for three in the corner. It's good! And Wisconsin makes it a 2-point Nebraska lead. 15-13. I believe, or no, it was tied. Excuse me, it's tied now, 15-all. Shields tries it, lays it down, throws it down, I should say, with the right hand. Shields slams it home, 17-15 Nebraska. Now here comes Wisconsin. Brust on the right, or on the left side wing, drives right. Has to get it out to Jackson. In trouble. Nebraska still playing man zone, and that's causing some problems for Wisconsin. 15 on the shot clock. Brust drives inside. That should be a travel. It's not called. We have a jump ball called, though, as Husker, I don't know who got the hands on the ball there, Kipper, but Nebraska does get possession anyway.
Yeah, that was an interesting call there. Nebraska had the hands all over it. Could have been a travel. Called a jump ball regardless. Husker basketball.
A timeout on the floor, 17-15. Nebraska in front of the Badgers here at the Pinnacle Bank Arena. Back after this with more basketball on 90.3 KRNU.
Showing off your moves doesn't have to be left on the dance floor at the club on the weekends. In fact, you don't even have to leave campus. Located right in the heart of City Campus, you can swing by and check out the Rec Center or call 402-472-3467 to hear about all the fun classes the Rec Center has waiting for you and your friends. The Rec Center has a variety of fitness classes for you to show off your moves. Whether you like to swim, dance, or relax with some yoga, there is a class at the Rec Center waiting for you. Call the Campus Recreation Center at 402-472-3467.
Chances are there'll never be an emergency ever again. But just in case, let's talk about a plan.
Okay.
Who is going to grab the go bag?
What's a go bag? It is a bag we do not have that is filled with things we really, really need in an emergency.
Guess we won't have to worry about it then.
Well, this is great. I am so glad that we don't have a plan.
I know.
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency. Who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Tune in to After Dark every Wednesday night from 9 to midnight for the latest in electronic music and hip-hop, plus remixes and mashups from your favorite alternative artists. After Dark every Wednesday from 9 to midnight on 90.3 KRNU and online at krnu.unl.edu.
(17-15) Nebraska in front of the Badgers as Siobhan Shields, right-handed slam being shown up on the video board, and what a slam it was. Had an open lane there, Kipper, and got it done.
Yeah, that was
beautiful play.
Very impressive, and that got the crowd right back into it. Got a note from Wade Hilligoss, 129 decibels is the loudest this arena's gotten. That is really, really loud. That's louder than pretty much any college football stadium gets. Obviously, being in an arena enclosed like that, it's going to be a little bit louder, but that is dynamic, and that has to get to Wisconsin.
That's closing in on Kansas City Chiefs Arrowhead Stadium type.
I don't know
loud.
if basketball translates the same way. Like, I don't know how loud the Duke place gets, but that's still ridiculous.
Shields driving inside on Comiskey, lays it in off the glass, no foul, and shot no good. Here comes Wisconsin. Jackson driving inside, loose ball picked up by Ray Gallegos. Huskers have numbers. Here comes Pitchford, slams it down!
What a play.
19-15, Kipper.
What a play there by Gallegos defensively. Diving at the ball, got the steal. Pitchford gets his body down there fast and slams it home.
Shields right now on Brunson Koenig. Excuse me for the mispronunciation earlier. Loose ball did not go out of bounds. Husker fans wanting that. Wisconsin still with it. Brust in front of the Husker bench. Now Comiskey. Decker, now Jackson. He will try and drive inside. Spot shot, pulls it up. No good. Rebounded, tipped in the air. Pitchford comes down with the ball as Decker tried to save it for the Badgers. Now Ty Webster, who's into the game, brings it up. Top of the key. Outside to Shields, moving left, and that's going to be a foul on Siobhan Shields, and that looked pretty clear from up here, Kipper, that Siobhan Shields just kind of laid his arm into Frank Comiskey.
Yeah, he can't be pushing off like that. It looked like almost a little bit of shoulder. Like, he really laid it into Comiskey. That's going to get called every time. Nebraska has to worry a little bit. They are fouling quite a bit so far.
Check that. That was a foul on David Rivers, so Shields did not get the foul. Looks like an illegal screen, maybe. Comiskey for three. No good. And rebounded by Pitchford. And here comes Ty Webster up the left side court. Huskers again going left to right. Webster drives inside, lays it in off the glass. It might have been blocked a little bit by Comiskey. Now Jackson brings it up for the Badgers, with Ty Webster playing some aggressive defense on him. And a pass inside. Comiskey had it blocked, but it's a foul. I believe that's going to be on Ty Webster.
Comiskey had an open dunk. Webster, only thing you can do to stop that is to foul him. So I guess that's a pretty good play for Nebraska because guaranteed 2 points now. Comiskey's going to have to earn them. He is an 80% free throw shooter, though, so he'll probably make both of these anyway.
Dukan also in. Duj Dukan into the game for Wisconsin, D-U-J-E. I think it's pronounced. Well, I'm not sure there, Kipper.
Duye Dukin.
Duye Dukin. So there we go. My mistake. Shields gets the rebound, and there's going to be a foul called on Wisconsin, and they're really disappointed about that one. Bo Ryan having words for the official, and that's going to be on, I believe, I want to say it's going to be on Dukan, and it is. So Duye Dukan entering the game has his first foul. Ty Webster brings it up. One free throw good for the Badgers, 19-16. Gallegos for three. It's no good. It was to the right a little bit from his spot on the right side wing. Now Jackson brings it up for the Badgers. Comiskey, top of the key, drives inside on the left, lays it in, or rather tosses it over to Dukan. Or Dukin, excuse me, and he lays it in off the glass for the basket. A 1 point lead for Nebraska, 19:22 to go in the game. Webster drives to the right side corner, hands it off to Gallegos. Over to Shields, Pitchford. Ty Webster thought about three, but Frank Comiskey got over there and covered him. Now Jackson covers. Now Pitchford for three. It's no good. Rebounded by Wisconsin's Gosser, and he brings it up quickly for the Badgers. Over to Dukin for three, and it's good. Wisconsin has the lead for the first time in this game. 21-19, and the Badgers are pumped. And Tim Miles calls a timeout, Kipper.
Nice shot there by Dukin. Wisconsin has done an excellent job taking this crowd out. Every time Nebraska makes a dunk, makes a three, does something good offensively, Wisconsin comes right back and strikes back and gets back on Nebraska. Now they lead the game for the first time. I don't know. Wisconsin really hanging in there right now. Nebraska has to continue to keep their intensity for the next 29 minutes of this game. That's not going to be easy. The crowd, I understand, yes, this game's going a little bit. Most people are sitting at that point. They got to stay into it. They got to realize the best time to cheer are when Nebraska needs it, not necessarily when they make the biggest points of emphasis, when they make the dunks. You got to cheer when Nebraska's down by 5 and needs a bucket. or Wisconsin's on a run, they're on offense, can't keep it going any longer, that's when Nebraska fans have to pick it up. They got to learn that.
This is incredible to see, not just the student section standing, but as well as the fans in general. They are standing as well. Petaway back into the game. He has it, drives inside on the right side, lays it in. What a shot by Teron Petaway. And Nebraska's tied it up.
Just laid his body into the defender, kind of had his arm way out and used that to make the basket. Nice play there by Petaway.
He took on Frank Comiskey, and Petaway won. Now Wisconsin. Jackson in front of the Nebraska bench. Now Dukin, now Brust. Left side corner, moving to his right. At the top of the key, has to get it out to Gosser. Jackson, Comiskey inside, trying to lay it up there. It's no good. Loose ball picked up by Walter Pitchford, who gets the rebound. Shields driving, forcing Wisconsin to get back quickly. And now Shields still with it at the top of the key. Going to drive inside, lays it up, and it falls! Siobhan Shields getting a nice shot. Huskers lead 23-21.
Huskers, after losing the lead, get it right back. Miles said something right in that timeout.
Comiskey, Jackson. Now Gosser pulls up with a long three, and it's good. Josh Gosser with a huge three, almost NBA range, and it's 24-23.
He is nasty, way out there. You can't really guard that. He's going to make that. Nothing you can do if you're Nebraska. You just got to get back offensively.
Petaway inside. No foul. No, there is going to be a foul called. Petaway was realizing that his lane was closed, tried to get it out, and he got fouled. And that's going to be on Trayvon Jackson. That is going to be his second foul of the game, and we have a timeout on the floor. 24-23, Badgers in front of the Huskers here at the Pinnacle Bank Arena on 90.3 KRNU. Back after this.
Students, when I call the reason for your absences throughout the years, please exit the auditorium without your high school diploma. Too tired, family trip, sick day, starting the holidays early.
Starting in the 6th grade, students who miss 18 days or more of school in a year for any reason will fall behind and risk not graduating high school. How many days of school has your child missed this year? Absences add up. Keep track at boostattendance.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
24-23, the Nebraska men's basketball team down by 1 to the Badgers. And look who just walked in. Connie Yori and the Nebraska women's basketball team, who just got in from the Lincoln Airport. And they are here, and they, of course, Jordan Hooper holding the Big Ten tournament trophy with a net around it as the Huskers clinched the Big Ten tournament title today over the Iowa Hawkeyes. What a whole bunch of scenes that we've had here today at Pinnacle Bank. Mike Peltz proposing, the women's basketball team making it back. Ryan Swanigan, Jon Kipper with you here. Just unbelievable today, Kipper.
Generally today, Nebraska, baseball and softball, both play. Women's basketball wins the Big Ten tournament. Obviously, Nebraska playing a top 10 team with a chance to make the NCAA tournament. There's all sorts of things happening in the Nebraska-Cornhusker community today, and they got back really fast. I mean, obviously they played a few hours ago, but wasting no time getting on a plane, heading over to Pinnacle right after.
It's 7:03 right now. I believe the game ended around, I think, 1:45 or so, somewhere around there. It was in the middle of the baseball game. If you heard that today, we announced the final score of that one during the baseball broadcast. So for the Nebraska women's basketball team to get back and leave the airport at around 3 o'clock to get back, that's not long of a flight. I mean, they must have got back here really quickly.
Yeah, I don't know if this was a planned thing for quite some time, like if they'd win, they're going to come, or if it was just like, hey, why not show up at Pinnacle and get the crowd a little excited. Hard to say how those things work out, but definitely cool to see that.
24-23, 7:19 to go. The Badgers leading the Huskers. Leslie Smith in the game for Nebraska. Petaway for three at top of the key, no good, and it's rebounded by Ben Brust. And bringing it up is Josh Gosser. Now Bronson Koenig Over to Brust. Now to Gosser in the left side corner. Dukin, Brust, top of the key now is Koenig. Trying to drive inside, off to Brust for three. Rimmed out, tipped around, rebounded by Wisconsin. Brust thought about three again. Now drives left side, or right side rather, pulls up with a spot shot. Off the rim, no good. Two Huskers go for the rebound, and it's out of bounds. Leslie Smith, Siobhan Shields with miscommunication. And the Huskers give Wisconsin a new fresh shot clock and the ball.
They missed that last three-pointer, but before that, 4 out of 5 three-pointers made for Wisconsin. They are very good from beyond the arc.
Top of the key is Gosser. Now Nigel Hayes trying to drive inside. Got away. No, a travel called. Leslie Smith with great defense right there. And the Badgers turn the ball over. Bo Ryan not happy about that one. And Benny Parker will bring it up for the Huskers. Right side wing, Gallegos, Petaway, now Parker in front of the Wisconsin bench. Shields drives inside in the right side lane, no shot. It was the foul happened before the shot, and so Shields will have a baseline inbounds pass on the way.
Obviously a big difference between going possibly three-point play, then Nebraska has to set an inbounds play. Not real happy about that, but I think that was a good call. It didn't indicate that Shields was really going up by the time the foul was made.
David Rivers into the game for Gallegos. Leslie Smith at the top of the key trying to get somebody to him, and it's David Rivers. Shields driving inside on Nigel Hayes. Lays it up. No foul. Loose ball, and it's going to be out of bounds. A jump ball called.
How?
Because both players went out of bounds. I don't know if you can call that or not.
I'm not real familiar with the rules of a jump ball,
I don't think that's ever a call.
Is he saying that they both had the ball, possession of the ball on the ground?
It looked like it got knocked loose by the Huskers.
It looked like they were rolling,
yeah,
and the ball just went out of bounds. One of them was off. Regardless, Wisconsin ball.
Looked like Brust was the man who was in there for the Badgers, so a jump ball gives possession to Wisconsin, but a bad pass off Brust's hand, and Nebraska gets it back. What a break.
Yeah, no kidding. Wisconsin doesn't turn over that much. It's only their second of the day. Nebraska, you could argue, maybe got screwed over a little bit on that last call. Didn't matter because Wisconsin throws it out of bounds.
Shields brings it up for the Huskers. Comiskey into the game for the Badgers. Petaway in front of the Wisconsin bench, driving right. Shields drives inside, lays it in. Kind of a backwards layup off the glass and in.
He was facing the other basket by the time he put the shot up. Interesting there.
Husker lead 25-24. Brust with it. Now over to Gosser. And now Koenig back to Gosser. Over to Brust and into the corner for Decker. Decker still with it now. Over to Brust. Gosser trying to drive inside. Out to Brust for three. Good! And Wisconsin takes the lead back. 27-25.
Every time Nebraska gets a little bit of momentum, Wisconsin takes it right out of them. That's just a veteran team, good coaching. That's how you do it.
Petaway going to drive inside on the right line. Lays it in off the glass. And Teron Petaway answers, and he ties the game at 27-all with under 4:40 to go. Koenig brings it up for Wisconsin. Now Comiskey with it on the left side wing. Loose ball. Still held on by Comiskey as Leslie Smith got in there. Decker drives inside. Slams it down. Sam Decker driving inside, and he slammed it down with both hands, 29-27. And Wisconsin able to answer with a dunk of their own now after Nebraska has two in this game. Now Parker, Shields inside, trying to get it inside Leslie Smith. Loose ball picked up by Leslie Smith. We're going to have a jump ball here. Comiskey knocked it loose. And the jump ball will give it to Nebraska as Husker fans wanting a foul.
Huskers also trying to call a timeout there. The ref didn't really think Nebraska wanted a timeout. Maybe they never thought Nebraska had possession by the time it was made. Yeah, that could have been a foul. Could have been a jump ball, obviously. Could have called a timeout. Refs might call that jump ball today, apparently.
Inbounds to Parker. driving or moving to his left, swings it over to Gallegos, top of the key. Now over to Pettaway from the Wisconsin bench. Long range three, no good. And rebounded by Frank Comiskey. And now, Koenig will bring it up for the Badgers. 29-27 Wisconsin. Top of the key, Koenig now moves right. Swings it over to Decker. Back to Comiskey. Over to Brust. Decker in the corner near us. Drives inside. Brust, loose ball. And kept alive by Koenig.
Could have been a kick there, it looked like.
And another one, as Wisconsin might have gotten away with 2 fouls. Brust in the corner for 3. No good. Tipped around. Wisconsin gets their own rebound after the Huskers tipped the ball. Husker fans not liking this.
I don't know why they booed the rebound.
Brust, Comiskey, Decker, now Koenig in the left side corner. Wisconsin going from right to left. Parker on him, and another travel looks like gotten away with by Wisconsin. Now Decker for 3. No good. Rebounded by Benny Parker after it got knocked loose and off of 3 bodies. Parker's going to drive to the basket. It's blocked by Wisconsin's Bronson Koenig. And I believe it's going to be Nebraska basketball, I think.
No foul.
No foul there called, as you said, Kipper. And Husker fans feeling like they're being ripped off, and the call's going Wisconsin's way. And we'll see what happens when we come back on the other side of the break. Media timeout, 2:37 to go, 29-27 Wisconsin. You're listening to Nebraska basketball on 90.3 KRNU.
Everyone enjoys the great outdoors. You or someone you know can make it even more enjoyable by getting involved with the Arbor Day Foundation. The Arbor Day Foundation has grown to become the largest nonprofit membership organization dedicated to planting trees. Over 1 million members, supporters, and valued partners accompany the Arbor Day Foundation. By volunteering with the Arbor Day Foundation, you can breathe easy knowing that you're making a difference. For more information on how to get involved, call toll-free at 1-888-448-7337. That's 1-888-448-7337.
Just take those old records off the shelf.
Hey, gals and greasers, this is Matt Lehman. Join me every Sunday night from 5 to 7 p.m. as we rediscover the roots of rock and roll on 50s Jukebox. We play artists from the 50s, ranging from Elvis Presley to Johnny Cash to Frank Sinatra. So if you like 50s era music, put a quarter in the jukebox and join me, Matt Lehman, every Sunday night from 5 to 7 p.m. live on the air on 90.3 KRNU and krnu.unl.edu.
Start something big. Create potential. Make an impact.
At Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, you're the difference in a brighter, more promising future.
Become a big today.
It's easy. Just call 464-2227. Don't wait. Join the hundreds of mentors that have made a big change to your community. Calling Big Brothers Big Sisters of America at 464-2227, you not only support the Big Brothers Big Sisters organization, but also lead others on a path to do big things.
29-27, Wisconsin leading Nebraska, 2:37 to go. In the first half between the Huskers and the Badgers, 5 fouls apiece for each. Ryan Swanigan and Jon Kipper with you here from the maximum capacity crowd here at the Pinnacle Bank Arena. Huskers do have the basketball coming up on the inbounds pass here. After the block shot by Bronson Koenig, he is still on the court, as well as Josh Gosser. Shields inbounding, trying to find somebody. He's got David Rivers all the way in the backcourt, but gets it to Ray Gallegos on the right side wing. Now back off to Shields. Parker trying to get it inside, does to Pitchford. Spot shot, buried by Walter Pitchford. Tie game.
Nebraska coming off timeouts very impressively. Always seem to be scoring right out of the break.
Comiskey, now Decker. On the left side wing, swinging it to the right side now. Brust in front of the Husker bench. Comiskey tried to set a screen. Brust did not go that way. Now Comiskey, now over to Koenig. Over to Comiskey. Now Decker. Inside is Josh Gosser, who drove to the basket and got fouled on his way up. A partial block shot. And that'll be on Benny Parker, his first foul of the game.
Parker's such an aggressive defender. It's going to happen sometimes. You're going to get a few more fouls called on you.
Gosser, first free throw is good. Not many free throws in this game. Wisconsin, 2 of 5 from the, 3 of 6 now from the charity stripe, and the second one is good. So now 4 of 7 and a 2-point lead. As Parker brings it up for Nebraska, 31-29. Shields, one-on-one with Koenig. Blocked by Frank Comiskey. No goaltending called, and Wisconsin gets the ball back. And again, Wisconsin might have gotten away with another travel by Gosser. Comiskey now. Left side is Decker. Top of the key now gets it over to Brust on the right side wing now in front of the Husker bench. Is Gosser. And inside and throwing it down is Sam Decker. And the Husker fans not liking that one. 33-29 Wisconsin. Now the Huskers with 1:08 and counting to go need to get a basket here. As Shields will drive inside, throws it up! Basket and foul! No, it's no foul. Just a basket by Siobhan Shields.
Fell on the ground after that one.
33-31. Here comes Wisconsin now. Koenig. Inside Frank Comiskey, last touch by Wisconsin, and they want it off of them. They're not going to get it. Nebraska basketball, and the Huskers can tie it or take the lead now. Tim Miles directing traffic vehemently now. Parker going to drive on Koenig. Off the glass, Benny Parker throws it in. Tie game, and 35 seconds and counting to go.
3-second differential on the shot and game clock. Nebraska will have the last shot if they want it.
Wisconsin now will have to fight this crowd to see if they can get a basket here to take the lead before halftime if they want it. They might run it all the way down. Koenig, Decker, Comiskey, top of the key, drives inside, gets his own rebound. Comiskey does, and he lays it in. And the clock, and now it's stopped by the official as David Rivers got bulldozed over by Frank Comiskey. 7.8 seconds on the clock, and the Huskers will have to hurry. Parker brings it up. He's got 5 seconds. Parker lays it up. No good. It was blocked. Comiskey will fire it to the other side off the top of the basket, and the Husker fans are booing the officials right now for sure, and Wisconsin, because of the last 15 seconds that took place. Kipper, tell us what happened there.
Kind of bizarre set of events. Comiskey misses his first shot, gets his own rebound, makes the shot. Rivers gets bulldozed, like you said on that play, falls over. Nebraska players trying to help him up while that's happening. The clock's still running. Ref finally stops it, makes sure Rivers is fine. And then once Parker gets the ball back, just kind of jogs over to the other side of the court like he's not in a hurry. Obviously not much time left. He just ended up having to run towards the basket. Then it looked like Wisconsin pretty physical with him, but Parker was coming up the hoop pretty hard. It could have just easily been an offensive foul. So, obviously, these fans are very excited. They think every call that's not called is a bad call. But interesting set of events at the end of the half.
35-33 the score at halftime. Huskers down by 2 as we are at the half between Nebraska and Wisconsin. We'll take a break. Jon Kipper will come back with you with a halftime interview here on 90.3 KRNU.
Join 90.3 KRNU every Sunday morning for Campus Voices, a public affairs feature that focuses on issues, events, and people from around the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. I'm Ford Clark, and I'll take you inside UNL. My guests will include decision makers at UNL, professors, and former students who are going to new places, studying interesting topics, and doing cool stuff. That's Campus Voices, Sundays at 10 a.m. on 90.3 KRNU.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm fleece on a
I
cold
want to
day.
be a football
I want to be
stadium.
a bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Participating in on-campus activities is the best way to liven up your college experience. Student involvement is the vibrant hub of involvement on campus, connecting and serving the UNL community. Student involvement sponsors awesome events for students, including the Second Chance Cinema, guest speakers, and parties at the Union. Visit involved.unl.edu to find their upcoming event schedule, or follow them on Twitter at UNLinvolved and like them on Facebook to get updates right on your social stream. Don't sit around in your dorm all night. Let student involvement show you a good time.
Love classic rock but tired of the same studio tracks? Join me, Chris Nelson, every Tuesday night from 10 to midnight for Classics Altered. It's demos, bootlegs, concerts, and the most obscure from rock's greatest eras. That's Classics Altered every Tuesday night, 10 to midnight on KRNU2, on the web at krnu.unl.edu.
Even on my usual table.
The next Mayor Rietma Ross Media Arts Center's movie countdown has begun. UNL's Ross Media Center presents a variety of movies, videos, films, and documentaries. The Ross doesn't only offer you an alternative to commercial film and television fare, but also a time to sit back and enjoy the creative art of cinema. So take a break or go on a date at the Mary Rietma Ross Media Arts Center. For showtimes, visit the Ross Media Arts Center's website, theross.org. That's theross.org.
Tune in to every Husker men's and women's basketball game online at krnu.unl.edu and 90.3 KRNU.
Back here at Pinnacle Bank Arena as the Wisconsin Badgers leading Brass Cornhuskers 35-33 in this close ball game. Jon Kipper here with Steve Sipple, columnist from the Lincoln Journal-Star. And Steve, obviously a fantastic atmosphere right now. It seems, though, that every time Nebraska has a dunk three-pointer, Wisconsin able to respond right back. Do you think that's just a testament to Bo Ryan coaching?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. I mean, you know what that's a testament to, John, is a team that's a possible number one seed in the NCAA tournament. That's what – you know what? They look a little like that. They're good. I mean, They're a big team. They're smart players. They're kind of as advertised. But – Nebraska's hanging right with them. I mean, these teams are going to keep trading punches till the end. I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens down the stretch. But, John, I think it's going to go right to the wire.
Yeah, as do I. I want to ask you, since you're kind of a veteran in terms of Nebraska sports, is this the best atmosphere you've seen in a Nebraska basketball game? Or if not, what is it?
You know what? Yeah, I'd say yes. But you have to be careful, because there were times – when Kansas came in with highly ranked teams, when Kansas came into the Devaney Center, or Kansas came into the Coliseum. Now, that's before my time. But now listen, when Wilt Chamberlain came in, for instance, there's been great atmospheres. Now, I got to think this is the best. It's hard to judge. This is right in my face. So this seems like it. But I can remember when Kansas came into Devaney a few times, highly ranked, it felt really special. And there were big games. There were some big games. So you got to be a little careful. But, hey, it'd be hard to top this.
Yeah, it certainly would. I want to get into Husker football a little bit. Spring practice starting this weekend. And, Bo, interesting move, opening it up to the media, letting them watch spring practice. What is your take on that? Is he just trying to look better for the media, you think?
That could be. I mean, John, he's always kind of done that. He's always kind of fell into an us against the world type mentality, and maybe he doesn't want that anymore. And maybe that's why he's doing it. Now, what he says is he's doing it to help us. He said, maybe I can help you guys do your jobs better. I'll just take him for his word on that. I talked to him yesterday after the practice, and what was interesting, John, he wondered, he said, what do you think? Like, what do you think of what you saw? I think he's curious kind of what we think, but I'm glad he's doing it. It's fascinating to see, and I think if people haven't done it, if people haven't seen a Division I, a major college football practice, a BCS level, I think they'd be surprised by the intensity and the organization. There is no jacking around. I mean, it is, you know what? It's kind of something to behold. You see why those guys are earning their money.
Yeah, definitely. What are your other takes in terms of players that you've seen so far? Who's looking good? Is there any surprises that you've seen so far?
Well, just one practice, no. I'll tell you, overall, though, it's a good-looking team.
Yeah.
I mean, he likes his team. They have a lot of talent. There's, you wonder, the position I wonder about a little bit is corner. There's some questions in the offensive line, but there's not a lot of questions on that team. And there's talent throughout the roster, and I know he really likes that team. As far as guys I like, I mean, Amir looked great on day one. He does.
Hard not to like him.
Right, and he looked great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's up to 201 pounds. He's very active. Got a lot of bounce. I mean, they don't hold him back any. But I'll tell you, the guy to watch, I think, is Adam Taylor. The redshirt freshman running back who runs mean. I mean, he's big, 6'2", 210. He wants to be a great player. He caught my eye yesterday. The safeties catch my eye. Banderas caught my eye yesterday. He's up to 235. I know he caught Bo's eye. He covered Amir on a wheel route. He blanketed Amir on a wheel route. That's pretty good at 6'2", 235. Not many guys can do that.
Yeah.
And, I'd watch Drake Martinez as a kind of an under-the-radar guy at safety. He's a big, good-looking athlete. He's a little bigger than Taylor, stronger. And he's a headhunter. Those are guys to watch.
QB race, Tommy Armstrong, obviously the incumbent, but Johnny Stanton, even Jamal Turner took reps I saw yesterday in practice. Yeah. What are the chances Armstrong loses his job, you think?
Oh, now, John, I'm bullish on Tommy Armstrong.
Really?
Yeah. I think it'll be very difficult for somebody to unseat him. And I say unseat because he has the upper hand right now because of his experience. And Tommy just has that look right now. Ain't nobody going to take that job. I mean, he's not going to falter. Somebody will have to play really well to beat him out, and I just don't see that happening. And that's with all due respect to Johnny Stanton and Riker Fight. They like Riker Fight. And you know what, John? They need those backups. You know that. I mean, the way they run that offense and how much they rely on the quarterback, Johnny Stanton's going to be needed at some point, or whoever the backup is going to be needed at some point.
Do you think he's going to play Turner at some Wildcat like you mentioned yesterday?
Sounds like it.
Something like that.
I think you'll see him in specialty situations. But, the thing he gives you is speed at that position, which they don't have a lot of. Tommy is not really explosive. It's interesting. I think people think of him that way, but he's not. He's not real fast, not real explosive. He's tough, good runner. But Turner gives you the speed, explosion. And, Bo said you could see him in some Wildcat-type things. But I think it's mainly the speed element that he would give you there. A little change-up, keep defenses thinking, And I think how much they use him will depend mostly on how he responds. How's he look? I mean, can he handle? Can he manage the offense? I mean, Jamal, even if he's only playing 6-7 plays a game, he's got to manage. He can't turn the ball over. He can't make dumb mistakes. So we'll see how he does in practice. And you know what? We will see how he does in practice because we watch him.
You certainly will. Reverting back to basketball, last question for you. Nebraska, after this game, obviously going into the Big Ten tournament, either at a 4 or 5 seed. What are the chances they could win this thing? The Big Ten's kind of a dog-eat-dog league. Anyone seemingly could win the thing. Do you think Nebraska could make a run?
Oh, God, I don't think there's any question. That's why I really want to see him get in the NCAA tournament because the discussion to me it's interesting. I mean, what I'm writing for tomorrow is I trust my eyes. This is an NCAA tournament team. It'd be a shame if they don't make it because they're that good. They should be in the NCAA tournament. They're good. So can they make a run in the Big Ten tournament? I think that answers itself.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think they can. They're a scary team. I'm sure Wisconsin will tell you that.
Yeah, they've hung with pretty much every big dog in the Big Ten, so you would definitely think they could.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, thank you for your interview. Definitely insightful. And hopefully Nebraska can win this one in the second half.
Thank you, John.
Yep.
Take care.
Thank you. You too. We will be back for the second half of this game. You are listening to 90.3 KRNU.
In May of this year, I was given clearance to resume driving.
After 31 years of blindness, a cornea transplant gave Jon his sight back.
And I was issued a learner's permit at the age of 55. So there are probably 15,000 15-year-old kids and me learning to drive in this state.
You have the power to donate life. Be an organ and tissue donor. To find out how, go today to www.donatelife.net.
Oh hey, it's me, your friendly neighborhood trumpet player, and I'm a proud member of several of the UNL bands. There's a ton of bands UNL has to offer. The Cornhusker Marching Band, the Wind Ensemble, the Symphonic Band, campus bands, and the pep band, the Big Red Express. So you should definitely come see me and other great musicians live in the bands of the Higson Lead College of Fine and Performing Arts. There's a band for everyone, so what are you waiting for? Check out your favorite UNL band today.
Hey, I'm Brandon Went.
And I'm Drew Montaigne.
Join us every Wednesday night on KRNU 2 from 6 to 8 for our new NBA show, Give and Go.
We've got everything from pregame analysis, in-game updates, to last-second shots.
That's right, no tanking or flopping allowed.
That's Give and Go, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. on KRNU 2.
On the web at krnu.unl.edu.
You're listening to Nebraska Cornhusker Basketball on 90.3 KRNU, Lincoln.
35-33 the score here at halftime. Ryan Swanigan with you. Jon Kipper will rejoin me shortly. Let's take a look at some scores around. Let's start with the Big Ten Conference right now. We mentioned earlier Ohio State defeated Michigan State 69-67. The Spartans ranked 22nd in the nation as the Buckeyes get a big win, and what they're hoping for will end up being a 4th seed ticket for them heading into the Big Ten tournament. Minnesota defeated Penn State 81-63, and Purdue falling at home to Northwestern 74-65, thus meaning that if Nebraska were to be the 5th seed, they would end up facing the Purdue Boilermakers, who ended up last in the conference with the loss today. Around college basketball, Wichita State defeating Indiana State 83-69. Number 5 Virginia falling in overtime to Maryland 75-69. Syracuse defeated Florida State 74-58. St. Louis survives UMass up in Massachusetts 64-62. And those were all the scores around college basketball that involved ranked teams. We're just about set for the start of the second half. And I'll tell you what, folks, strap yourselves in because this one is going to get intense for the second half as your starters, all the same starters who started this basketball game, back onto the floor, presumably for Nebraska and Wisconsin. It's Brust, Jackson, Decker, Gosser, and Comiskey for Wisconsin. For Nebraska, Ty Webster, Teron Petaway, Ray Gallegos, Siobhan Shields, and Walter Pitchford. That's the Huskers set to go for the second half. Jon Kipper, you made it back in time.
I had to hustle. A little bit tired, but I'm excited over the second half. Huskers down 2. If they win, go to the NCAA tournament. You tell people that at the beginning of the year, every single person is going to take that.
Let's remind everybody as well, the Huskers were picked to finish last in the Big Ten.
They win, they get 4th.
Incredible stuff right now here in Lincoln. 20 minutes till the final buzzer. 35-33. Wisconsin has the ball. And here we go. Decker driving left. Wisconsin now going from left to right on your radio dial. Comiskey inside, guarded by Pitchford. Trying to drive his way inside. Can't. Has to get it over to Jackson for 3, and it's good. Trayvon Jackson with a three-pointer. 38-33 Badgers.
Deflates Nebraska crowd immediately. Huskers, he degenerates some offense, get him back into it.
Shields, now Gallegos. Swings it over to Pitchford. Now Pettaway in front of the Husker bench. Back over to Shields. Ty Webster now moving to the top of the key. Pulls up with a spot shot. It is no good. Comiskey with the rebound, and that's a shot the Huskers needed. Now Jackson, right side wing. Inside, Frank Comiskey. Pettaway is there. Lays it in. Frank Comiskey makes it 40-33, the largest lead for the Badgers in this contest. Webster, Pettaway, who will move to his right, over to Pitchford. Now Ty Webster. Now Shields. Left side wing, Gallegos. Pitchford for three. No good. And a rebound by Sam Decker. And here comes Wisconsin. Jackson, top of the key, moves left. Over to Comiskey. Thinking about three, now off to Jackson, who drives inside off the glass. Rebound, no good. Jackson is there for his own rebound. It's tipped, knocked loose. Comiskey for two. It is no good. Shields gets the rebound. And some action between Decker and Pitchford goes unscathed. Shields! Basket and foul!
Interesting set of events there. Kaminsky takes a dumb shot, in my opinion. You're shooting a two-pointer with your feet on the three-point line. Either take a step back or drive in. I never understand that shot. Shields comes right down the court with it, able to draw a foul and make the basket, something he's done very well all year.
This is the first time that the Huskers have gone to the free throw line in this game. First shot is good, or the only shot I should say is good. For Shields, a 4-point lead for the Badgers. Now Jackson, Comiskey, top of the key. Wisconsin getting its offense set. Gosser now inside to Decker. Lays it in off the glass, 42-36.
Nice pass there by Gosser.
Now Benny Parker. Pitchford over to Gallegos, right side wing. Back off to Pitchford. Thought about three. Now we'll drive inside on Comiskey. And a foul on Frank Comiskey. That's two in a row, and he's not happy about it.
Interesting dynamic with Comiskey guarding Pitchford. Pitchford's used to all year being able to pretty much shoot the three ball whenever he wants. It's never in real big contention of getting blocked. Comiskey's an inch taller than Pitchford. He can't just shoot it whenever he wants. He's got to pick his shot there. He pump faked, decided to drive it in, able to draw the foul. So in that case, it helped him.
Two shots on the way for Walter Pitchford. 17:47 left to go in this contest. First shot on the way, no good. And every free throw, matters in this game, and it always has for Nebraska in one way or another, Kipper.
Yeah, certainly. Nebraska's been an excellent free throw shooting team all year. Wisconsin, an excellent free throw shooting team as well. Might come down to free throws, and right now Pitchford making his second one. Nebraska shooting just over 50% from the line. Need to improve.
71% on the season are the Huskers at the line. And now here comes Wisconsin once again. Brust into the game, top of the key. Jackson driving inside on Pitchford. That's going to be a foul on Walter Pitchford as Jackson might have gone up for a shot. It got thrown out of bounds. It will be an inbounds pass, actually. It looked like Jackson tried to pass it off. And Huskers kind of causing a problem for the inbounds pass. Brust gets it from Gosser. He has it now in front of the Wisconsin bench. Nigel Hayes into the game for the Badgers. Gosser back out, left side wing. In front of the Wisconsin bench. Now off to Jackson over the right side wing as they swing it that way to Brust. Driving inside. Jackson knocked loose. Benny Parker picks up the loose ball. Good defensive play there for the Huskers. Now Nebraska will try and answer. Shields. Gallegos swings it over to his right to Pitchford. Pettaway in front of the Husker bench. Moves back to his left. Driving inside. Throws it off the glass, and it's no good off the side rim, but Pettaway draws the foul. That's going to be the fourth foul in the second half for Wisconsin, and Teron Pettaway will go to the line to shoot two.
Badgers aren't really a team that foul that much. 4 fouls in the first 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
That's what you want if you're Nebraska.
That's what you want. That's not what you want if you're Bo Ryan. Nebraska is going to keep in this game and come back from that early 7-point deficit, something that helps them a lot.
Kana again, as you heard, for the Badgers. Petaway sinks one free throw, and now the second one on the way. And it's good. 2 for Teron Petaway. And here comes this crowd, all standing. 42-39, Wisconsin. Gosser. Decker for 3. No good. Rebounded. Knocked loose. It was almost rebounded by Pitchford and knocked loose by Trayvon Jackson. Inside Decker again. Lays it off. No good. It bounced out of the rim. And Gallegos will bring it up. In front of the Husker bench. Now drives left. Swings it over to Pitchford. Wanted a 3. Couldn't. Now Gallegos top of the key. Now Petaway on the left side wing. He's going to drive inside. Lays it in. Wisconsin just let him lay it in the basket. And it's a 1-point lead for the Badgers.
He moves in the lane so well. I don't know as much they let him go as much as he just went around everyone.
Now Gosser inside to Jackson. Parker on him. Knocked loose. That should be Nebraska basketball. And it is. The Energizer Bunny. Causing some havoc. Wreaking some havoc, I should say, on Trayvon Jackson, who's trying to plead his case that was off of Parker. It will be to no avail, and Nebraska will get the ball when we come back. Timeout on the floor, 42-41, Wisconsin in front here at the Pinnacle Bank Arena as you're listening to Nebraska basketball on 90.3 KRNU.
Whoa, a digital music player. Thanks, Mom.
Glad you like it. We can finally toss out that old massive stereo.
Mom, you can't just throw out electronics. They need to be recycled or donated.
Recycled? Like aluminum cans?
Yeah, you just go to greenergadgets.org, enter your zip code, and it tells you where the nearest certified recycling center is.
I knew that.
Okay, Mom.
Recycling electronics is as easy as buying them. Log on to greenergadgets.org to find electronics recycling options near you.
You never know when you may need help. When danger strikes, you'll be ready to respond, thanks to UNL Campus Security. UNL Campus Security works behind the scenes to maintain the safe, welcoming campus environment we all enjoy. In addition to the work they do under the radar, the UNL Campus Police is on call 24 hours a day at 402-472-2222. Remember, dial 2 for blue, 402-472-2222.
Are you up to date with this week's entertainment news? Listen to the Husker Hub Sundays from 2 to 3 p.m. on KRNU 2. The show has got you covered with everything from celebrity gossip to hot new music to the latest Lincoln happenings. That's Husker Hub, Sundays from 2 to 3 p.m. on KRNU 2. On the web at krnu.unl.edu.
42-41, Badgers in front by 1 over the Huskers here on senior night as the number 9th ranked Badgers is trying to stop some sort of momentum changing play that Nebraska can come up with. Ryan Swanigan and Jon Kipper with you here from downtown Lincoln, Nebraska. Kipper, I really don't know what to say. This is just an incredible game, and Wisconsin trying not to lose this lead right now.
Yeah, Wisconsin starts the second half with a 7-0 lead, and that's to take the biggest lead of the game. Nebraska able just to come right back, step it up defensively. Benny Parker able to force a turnover. Wisconsin doesn't do that very often. This has the feel of a game that's going to go down to that last minute. I mentioned Michigan. They lost that game. That went down to the last seconds. Maybe things are going to change course in this one.
Petaway has it now. Shields, Parker, Pitchford, and Gallegos also into the game for the Huskers. Petaway still with it. Spot shot for 2. It's no good, and Wisconsin will maintain the lead as Jackson brings it up quickly. One-on-one on Parker, and Benny Parker is just going to foul him right there, as there was nothing that Benny Parker could do to stop Trayvon Jackson, who's now playing with some fire after Parker knocked the ball loose off of Jackson. Trayvon Jackson is not going to take that lightly. Nigel Hayes also into the game for the Badgers still. Brust and Ducan, as well as Gosser. Another foul on the floor. Parker with 2 fouls, and that one is going to be on Walter Pitchford. That's his second. So the Huskers quickly add fouls now as it's 3 apiece. Jackson inside. Brust lays it in off the glass. And down for 2, 44-41, as Ben Brust with a nice play there off the assist from Jackson. Now Parker, left side wing, moves right, swings it over to Pitchford. In front of the Husker bench now Gallegos, moves to his left. Shields, Petaway, top of the key. Pitchford wanted a 3, did not get a chance. Parker outside the range. Now Shields going to try and drive inside. Pulls up with a spot shot, and he buries it. 1 point lead, Wisconsin. Now Jackson over to Brust in front of the Wisconsin bench. Top of the key is Gosser. Over to Nigel Hayes. Right side corner is Brust. Moves left, top of the key. Long 3 for Ducan. It's no good, and it's rebounded by Petaway as Pitchford came right up in there and almost knocked it free, but by mistake. And now the Huskers with a chance to take the lead with 14:23 and counting to go. Now Petaway. Driving inside to the right, lays it in. It had to be blocked by Hayes. Wisconsin in quick transition. Ducan drives inside, and that's going to be, and they're going to count the basket.
Oh, yeah.
And it looked like, Kipper, from my vantage point, it was before the shot, but instead it count the basket. A foul on the Huskers. And I believe it is on Walter Pitchford. That's his 3rd, and that is not going to help out the Big Red.
It looked to me his arm was going up by the time he was fouled. His left side got fouled, right arm went up. From what it looked like.
Free throw miss there, Kipper, as Leslie Smith into the game. So Walter Pitchford will have to sit with 3 fouls now. Only player for either team in foul trouble. Now Parker, Gallegos in front of the Husker bench, moves to his left, top of the key, over to Shields. Driving inside, lost possession, but it's because there was a foul either on Nigel Hayes or Trayvon Jackson. We'll wait. It is on Hayes. That's his second. So Wisconsin now with 4 players with 2 fouls in this game, as it looks like Frank Comiskey will get ready to check in. And it's Siobhan Shields at the line to shoot 2.
Just a silent hush when Shields shoots. No one's talking.
And it was completely buried on the first free throw attempt, and now the second one on the way. 46-44, 13:47 to go. 4 fouls apiece, 4 timeouts apiece. Second one bounced around off the rim, but it fell, and now it's a 1 point lead for the Badgers. Here come the Husker faithful. Jackson, Gosser, Jackson, top of the key. Benny Parker got his hands in there, and it's a jump ball. The Energizer Bunny strikes again.
He's nuts.
He just loves doing that.
He just has this look on his face after just intense glare. He is such a smart player for this team defensively. One of the biggest reasons Nebraska finds himself in this place right now.
Well, Ryan upset. Jackson out of the game. Comiskey in. Here come the Huskers. Another chance to take the lead. Gallegos. Shields in the corner. A spot shot. Buries it. Nothing but net. With a little help from the front rim. 47-46. Nebraska first lead of the half. Now Decker, Comiskey, top of the key. Leslie Smith on him, and you wouldn't want anybody else guarding Frank Comiskey than Leslie Smith. He sticks with him. Brust in the right side corner. Comiskey inside, outside the box. Or outside the paint, rather. Comiskey drives. Shot no good. It's going to be rebounded, and Wisconsin turns it over. Nebraska ball. Bo Ryan can't believe it. Tim Miles wanted a foul. What a crazy play there, Kipper. It looked like Wisconsin even tried to kick the ball.
Yeah.
I saw a leg come up, I think, by Ducan, and the Huskers get the ball back out of bounds off of Wisconsin. Here comes Parker. Shields, top of the key, fake the shot, pulls up for two. It's no good off the front rim. Brust gets the rebound for the Badgers. And now Gosser will bring it up. Top of the key, Frank Comiskey for three. First attempt of the game, and it's good. Frank Comiskey buries a three, and it's 49-47.
Those Badgers like taking the life out of this arena. They pride themselves on it, it looks like.
They are going to need it if they want to win this game. Leslie Smith now. Right side, Benny Parker. Gallegos, top of the key. Shields, left side wing. Petaway, now top of the key, moving left. Trying to drive inside on Frank Comiskey. Shot is blocked. No, a foul call on Frank Comiskey, and he is not happy with that one. And Bo Ryan is not happy either. So trying to tell his team, hey, it's all right, move on. And Frank Comiskey now in foul trouble. And if you want something good to cheer about, if you're Husker fans, it's Frank Comiskey has 3 fouls.
Bo Ryan not bringing anyone to the scorer's table to replace Comiskey. So obviously he's keeping him in with 3 fouls. And I also want to say school record crowd here today in attendance, 15,998.
Oh,
most we've seen here, short of 6,000 by two people.
Oh, man, that hurts.
Can't they just round up?
Wait a minute now. Frank Comiskey just got subbed out, and the official is going over and chatting with Bo Ryan. I think one of the officials was not happy with Frank Comiskey as Comiskey stormed off the court.
That was weird.
That was weird. I missed what would happen. Petaway hits both free throws. It's 49-48 Wisconsin. And into the game, I think Nigel Hayes checked back in, so Comiskey is out. And it's Decker to Brust to Dukin. In front of the Wisconsin bench. Now Brust, top of the key, swings it right. Over to Decker, trying to drive inside. David Rivers on him. Brust, top of the key. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Decker driving inside. Over to Brust. He's still guarded. 5 seconds. He's got to hurry with a shot. Fires it off the rim, no good. Nebraska rebound. Benny Parker, who's surrounded by Wisconsin players, has to get it out to Gallegos, and he does. Spot shot for Gallegos. Rims out, no good. Wisconsin rebound by Gosser, who comes up the court now. And Tim Miles has to tell his bench to sit down as the official gave Miles the word to tell the bench to sit down for the Huskers. Hayes inside. It's blocked by Leslie Smith, but a foul. I believe that might have been on David Rivers, I believe. No, it is on Leslie Smith. So that's his first. 5 fouls apiece. Timeout on the floor. 49-48 Wisconsin. And we will take a break and come back with more Husker basketball on 90.3 KRNU.
For a little extra help settling in at college, look to UNL's first-year experience and transition programs. You can receive one-on-one student coaching and tutoring to get you through that tough course. Or you can attend free workshops for information on stress, money, even jobs and internships. First-year experience and transition programs will assist you with academic support or general life skills to make your experience at UNL successful. Stop by First-Year Experience and Transition Programs located at 127 Love Library South.
For too many parents, a baby's first steps aren't just a milestone, they're a miracle. Made possible by volunteers like you who walk in March for Babies. The money you raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org to take the steps that help make milestones and even miracles possible for thousands of families. Who will you march for?
Hi everyone, I'm Ryan Swanigan. Join me every Friday night from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. for 3 great hours filled with jazz. Hours number 1 and 2 let you get your groove on with some upbeat essentials, followed by the slower, smoother jazz to unwind and be relaxed for the 3rd and final hour. So join me Friday nights at 6 for Jazzy Vibes, right here on 90.3 KRNU and krnu.unl.edu.
Wisconsin in front of the Huskers. Ryan Swanigan, Jon Kipper. Folks, I promise you I will have a much better sounding voice for Jazzy Vibes on Friday. Hopefully for tomorrow, too, when we have our sports talk shows as well.
We got talk shows 2 straight days. Sports Forum Tuesday night.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that, too. A special presentation of the KRNU Sports Forum Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. You should tune in for that.
You and I are overexposed over these past few days. I do baseball Saturday. You do 2 things today, and then we're on the next 2.
Yeah. By the way, Nebraska baseball, if you missed it earlier, did win 14-7 over St. John's, and now 49-48, 11:08 to go here as Nebraska and Wisconsin squaring off. Fans back to their feet. They've been sitting down in the breaks, standing during game play as Nigel Hayes at the line to shoot 2. First one is good, as Hayes a 61% free throw shooter on the season.
Student section is doing an excellent job creating all sorts of faces and gimmicks to try to throw out the opposing team's free throws. And he misses there, so might be working.
Leslie Smith with the rebound.
I want to see Nebraska drive inside here. They've been settling for jumpers. They've been having a lot of success when they do go inside.
Inside, Petaway tried to bounce it hard inside to Leslie Smith. And Leslie Smith was not ready for that one, and the turnover for Nebraska really not needed, I guess, with that play. You're not trying to be special right now.
Interesting, Wisconsin shooting better from the three-point line than they are from the free throw line, 54-50%.
Decker driving inside on Shields, lays it in off the glass, and air ball out of bounds off of Wisconsin. Nigel Hayes last touched it. He's not happy about that. And Walter Pitchford back into the game with 3 fouls. Leslie Smith out, as Smith has 1. And Decker out, and checking in is Vito Brown. Doesn't really get that much playing time, but I guess that's mainly to give Sam Decker some rest right now, as you can't really bring in Frank Comiskey with 3 fouls, as Bo Ryan's thinking. Petaway, top of the key. Now over to Shields on the left side wing. Now to Petaway on the right side wing. Trying to drive inside. He will. Lays it off the glass. No good. A rebound by Wisconsin's Vito Brown, who holds on to it. Nice athletic play there by Vito Brown to save it. Now here come the Badgers. Brust right side wing. Now Josh Gosser. Dukin in the right side corner. Benny Parker on him. Trying to fight inside. Contested shot. It was no good. Rebounded by nobody. Was knocked out of bounds off of Wisconsin. Nebraska holds on. Parker almost got shoved back. Fans wanted a charge or an offensive foul of some type. They don't get it, but the Huskers still get the ball back.
Nebraska has been knocking on the door to take the lead for quite some time. Down 2 right now. Can they do it here?
Shields going to drive inside. He lost the ball off his foot. It's going to be
foul call.
Whoa. Wait, no. Well, I don't know.
Is it a foul call on Shields?
No, I think they're going to say it was out of bounds. Last touch by Nebraska, Wisconsin ball. That's what it looked like it was. Or it looks like what it was to be, and it was. Gosser, top of the key, swings it over to Dukin. Right side wing, left side wing, Gosser. Now Brust in front of the Wisconsin bench. Inside. Gosser trying to drive in. He can't do it. Parker. And Gosser drives inside. Missed the layup. A fight for the ball off the bottom of the basket, and a foul going to be called on Nebraska. It's Shields who's called for his 2nd foul of the game. And it will be a shooting foul. So at the line is Josh Gosser, who is, if you think his 3-point shooting is unreal, 87% from the free throw line. Only Ben Brust is better at 88%. 1 in, 51-48, 9:13 to go.
Wisconsin 6 for 11 from the free throw line today. 75% on the season, so well below the average.
Second one good. 2 by Gosser, 52-48. Huskers down only by 4. Still in this game. Coming up on 9 minutes to go. Parker to his right. Now hand off to Pitchford. Over to Shields. And Shields will have to pull out, get in front of the Nebraska bench. And he will try to drive inside. Lays it up there off the front rim. Tipped around, rebounded by Wisconsin. Husker fans want a foul. They're not going to get it again. Dukin got the rebound. Now Gosser, top of the key. Dukin has it. Left side wing. Trying to find somebody to swing it to. He does to Bruss, top of the key. Right side to Brown. Over to Dukin. Inside, Nigel Hayes. Pitchford, hands straight up. Off the glass. No basket. And Walter Pitchford is going to pick up his 4th foul of the game. And Leslie Smith immediately pops up, and he will come in.
That is trouble for the Cornhuskers. You do not want Pitchford to get fouled out of this game. Leslie Smith going to be coming in for him right now, but not a good sign for Nebraska.
Hayes off the front rim. 1 free throw missed.
Really bad free throw shooter, Hayes is. Under 60%. You don't see that a lot from a guard.
8:27 now left, 52-48. Hayes' second free throw. No good. Rebounded by Ray Gallegos. So the Huskers catch another break. Let's see if they can come through. Shooting has been ice cold of late in the last few minutes. Petaway inside. Javon Shields lays it in off the glass. No basket, but a foul drawn by Ben Brust.
Does Shields take shots, or does he just drive in and get fouled? I feel like that's the only way he scores points. He is just a master at drawing that foul, and usually he's able to make that bucket as well and grab the and one, but nonetheless, very, very impressive.
The foul on Ben Brust, his first. Shields to the line to shoot 2. And Wisconsin looking like they'll have some subs coming back in. Jackson and Decker, and the first free throw is good by Shields. Hayes out, as well as Josh Gosser. Second free throw, nothing but net. A 2-point lead for the Badgers. Here comes this crowd again. Excuse me. Jackson, Brust, left side, front of the Wisconsin bench. Brown almost lost it. Leslie Smith guarding him. Jackson, top of the key, swings it over to Brown. A turnover, he lost it. Couldn't handle the pass from Trayvon Jackson, and the Huskers will get it back as we have a timeout on the floor. 52-50, 7:58 to go. Tim Miles chatting with 2 of the officials right now, or one of the officials. And we'll take a break. We'll come back here with more Husker basketball on 90.3 KRNU.
Make Sunday nights praise and worship nights this fall on KRNU2 as they bring you The Lighthouse, an hour of Christian radio. Join host Savannah Epp for 60 minutes of inspirational songs, both your newest favorites and your beloved classics. Listen to The Lighthouse every Sunday evening from 8 to 9 p.m. on KRNU2, located at krnu.unl.edu.
Hey, shh, listen. Do you hear that? It's your heart. Chances are you take that precious sound for granted. And if you're like a lot of Americans, 1/3 to be exact, you're not doing anything to prevent heart disease. So what if a cardiologist told you exactly how best to love your heart? Would you listen then? Go to clevelandclinic.org/loveyourheart and learn what really matters and what doesn't when it comes to that lovable heart of yours.
52-50, Ryan Swanigan, Jon Kipper. Jon Kipper, you have an update on the Big Ten standings.
Yes, other than the 4 and 5 seeds, they're all out. All the seeding for the Big Ten tournament's out. And if Nebraska loses this game, they will go the 5 seed and play Purdue. Now, they are 1-1 this year against Purdue. Won here in Lincoln, lost earlier in the year in Lafayette. So, interesting dynamic. Also, Nebraska played and beat Purdue last year in the Big Ten tournament.
So we'll see if history can repeat itself for the Huskers. If they can have back-to-back years with beating Purdue if they lose this game. If not,
they'd prefer to us play them.
I think, yeah.
Unless Purdue, of course, beats Ohio State, and then they play them in the next round. Then they'll play them.
But more than likely, if the Huskers get the 4th seed, it's Ohio State that the Huskers would play.
Although in this Big Ten landscape, more than likely is interesting statement because I don't even know if you can predict any of these games in the Big Ten tournament. I mean, Northwestern went to Madison and beat this Wisconsin team. I still don't know how that happened.
And soundly, too, 65-56, a 9-point win. A 2-point lead for the Badgers here at the Pinnacle Bank. The final regular season home game before playoff time begins. Huskers have the ball. Shields, Parker, Smith, Gallegos, and Petaway for Nebraska. Walter Pitchford on the bench with 4 fouls. Frank Kaminsky with 3. He's not in the game. Petaway, Gallegos top of the key. Pulls up for 3. Good! And finally, the Huskers take the lead back 53-52. Wisconsin trying to answer. Brust inside to Decker. Out to Vito Brown. Tim Miles trying to signal his defense. Get their attention. Dukin. Decker pulls up with a spot shot for 2 off the rim. Tipped around again, out of bounds. Shields has it. Here he comes. Slams it down. 55-52. This place is going nuts right now. And Bo Ryan calls a timeout. Unbelievable. The 3 by Gallegos. And Siobhan Shields in the turnover, slamming it home. Huskers lead by 3.
As BMX players in the background, students going berserk yet again. The lyrics, y'all gonna make me lose my mind. The students are losing their mind right now, Ryan. One thing we gotta focus on, Wisconsin has been able to respond every time Nebraska has gone on these momentum shifts. Every time the crowd's gone into it, Wisconsin's driven down, got a foul, drove down, made a 3-pointer, silenced the crowd yet again. A lot of times it's right after these timeouts. So can Nebraska hold them here and let this momentum continue? That'll be what we have to watch.
We should also mention for the Big Ten tournament, Wisconsin seed as well. They are going to have that 2 seed regardless because they hold the tiebreaker over Michigan State. But now it's just a question of where will the Buckeyes and Huskers end up. 55-52, Nebraska in front, 7:03 to go.
Yeah, obviously, not only does Nebraska win, set them up nicely for the NCAA tournament, but that bye helps a lot. You get an extra day of rest, and you don't have the risk of losing to a Purdue team that absolutely could beat the Huskers. So if Huskers do want to make a run in the Big Ten tournament, a win would behoove them greatly tonight.
You also get to watch, if the Huskers do get that 4th seed, you get to watch Ohio State and Purdue square off and what you need to do to get a win against either one of those teams.
Yeah, playing 2 games back-to-back is not easy. Nebraska obviously has a game Sunday, wouldn't have to play anything till, I believe, Thursday. So
Friday if they win the 4th seed. Yeah.
There you go. So lots of rest Nebraska would have. The other team would have a game and then a game the next day. So this means a lot for the Huskers in a lot of different ways.
7:03 to go. Parker, Petaway, Gallegos, Smith, Shields on the floor for the Huskers. By the way, we have not really been doing a good job of keeping track of points. Siobhan Shields has 25 points in this game. Petaway has 14.
Quiet 25 in my opinion.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mentioned earlier, though, he gets so many of his points just in free throws and one attempts that they do kind of sneak by you. But, yeah, very, very impressive day by Shields. He's been to the line a whole bunch.
Huskers are 9 of 11 from the charity stripe in this game. Here come the Badgers now. Kaminsky is into the game for Wisconsin. A little dump off to Jackson. Benny Parker is on him, and Benny Parker has owned Trayvon Jackson in this game. Leslie Smith now picks him up, and that's going to be a foul on Leslie Smith. Jackson kind of leaned into it, but Smith kind of bumped him, and the foul called, and that is the 8th foul on Nebraska, 6 for Wisconsin. It's a 1-and-1 scenario for Trayvon Jackson, who's at the line.
Only points Jackson's made all night. is that three-pointer. So, yes, Parker has dominated Jackson.
Rebounded by Smith, and you know what that means. Husker ball, no free throw made by Wisconsin. They are now 7 of 15 from the line. Parker over to Shields. Left side wing is Gallegos. Now has to give it off to Leslie Smith at the top of the key. Swings it, or trying to swing it to Pettaway. Pettaway in trouble still. Small screen set. Pettaway jump shot. No good. Rebounded by Decker. And he will bring it up for the Badgers. Kaminsky driving inside. Smith lost his footing. It's going to be a foul called on Teron Pettaway, who leaped in there, try and block the shot, and Frank Kaminsky will go to the line to shoot two.
Kaminsky 1 for 2 at the line tonight, but very good free throw shooter at over 80%. He's a guy that has 3 fouls, though, so he has to be careful. We still have not seen Pitchford in the game since his 4th foul. As I say that, he goes to the scorer's table, so we will see Walter Pitchford.
And that is because Leslie Smith now, the foul was on him, so he has 3. So the Huskers in trouble of losing both of their bigs, which is not what you need.
No.
But that means you need to have Frank Kaminsky draw a foul. First free throw was no good. Second one is. It's 55-53.
Pitchford has to be very careful, not just on the defensive end, but on the offensive too. Can't get over aggressive. Kaminsky's trying to be draw stuff on him.
Shields moves left, trying to drive inside on Kaminsky. Can't. Good defense there. He tries again. He can't do it still. And a pass over to Pitchford for 3 in the corner. Good! Welcome back to the game, Walter Pitchford. 58-53. Now Jackson driving, or stops now with Parker on him. Brust. Decker in front of the Wisconsin bench. That's the left side corner. Now to the wing spot on the left side for Gosser, Decker driving inside. Lays it up off the glass, no good. Rebounded by Pettaway. And now a small sliver of hope for Nebraska to see if they can pull away. Pettaway drives. Lays it in off the glass. 60-53. A 7-point lead, and Bo Ryan calls a timeout, and this place is rocking.
I mentioned earlier, how is Wisconsin going to respond after a run from Nebraska? Nebraska had a little bit of a run. Wisconsin out of the timeout doesn't do that much. Now Nebraska leads by 7. That's been the longest lead of the game for not only Nebraska, but Wisconsin led by 7. That's the largest lead they've had. Wisconsin's in foreign territory right now, and they're on the road, and they have a crowd rocking. If they don't take advantage of it here, Nebraska could pull away with this one because they have all the momentum right now. But if they're able to go down the court, set up Kaminsky for an open 3, or really anyone for an open shot, settle the crowd down a little bit, we're going to have a tight ball game. Obviously, Tim Miles trying to force a turnover, trying to get the crowd to get even louder.
Here is the problem, though, Kipper. The Huskers have 9 fouls. The next one will let Wisconsin shoot 2 from here on out. The Badgers have yet to enter the bonus.
Is that even a bad thing, though? 47% Wisconsin's shooting from the free throw line
Very
right now.
true. That is a good point. Huskers 80%, 81, almost 82% from the free throw line. It's Jackson, left side wing. Kaminsky, top of the key. Now over to back to Kaminsky, I should say, from Gosser. Now Jackson, top of the key, driving inside. No offensive foul called, and the shot is laid in by Nigel Hayes. And it looks like Shields is okay, as he just was literally, again, bulldozed by Trayvon Jackson. Gallegos in front of the Husker bench now. Pitchford back that way now. Top of the key near center court is Shields. As the Huskers are now going to try and let some clock run off. 60-55, 4:33 and counting to go. Parker will retreat back to the Nebraska logo at midcourt. Shields holds on after the pass, almost taken away. Oh. And he drives to the basket, and he missed it. Somehow it was missed. Jackson now trying to regroup. Hayes slams it down on the other end on the assist from Jackson. And now the Huskers have to regroup. It's a 3-point lead now for Nebraska with 4:08 and counting. Pettaway driving inside, gets it over to Shields. Gallegos moving to his right. Shields inside the paint. Parker spot shot. Ripped it, it goes. It looked like it was going to fall out. It hit the glass and came back in. A basket for Benny Parker. He's got 4. 62-57. Jackson driving inside now off to Comiskey. Moving left. Trying to swing it to somebody. Nobody there. Jackson, right side wing. Back out to Brust. Can't get a 3. He does now. It is no good. And Petaway holds on to the loose ball. Knocks it to Gallegos. And the Huskers hold on. 3:23 and counting. 62-57. Petaway's got 16. Pitchford has 11. Shields has 25. Petaway. Pitchford! Good! Unbelievable.
Wisconsin only has 2 timeouts. They can't really stop it right now to let the crowd shut up a bit.
Jackson lays it up. Desperate attempt, no good. Pitchford over to Petaway. 2:45 and counting. And a timeout called again by Bo Ryan in Wisconsin. Who
I
just
believe that
waves
was Miles.
Oh, Miles calls the timeout. He does. Who, as Bo Ryan just waves his hand at the officials, wanting something. And now, an 8-point lead for Nebraska with 2:44 and counting.
How big has Walter Pitchford been? After he comes into the game with 4 fouls, mind you, hits 2 huge 3-pointers to give Nebraska an 8-point lead. If he doesn't make those, it's a 2-point game right now. Wisconsin has to get going offensively. They first have to stop Nebraska here. They can't let this lead get in the double digits.
And they should be looking to try and draw fouls, Kipper, because Nebraska, if they foul again, Wisconsin goes to the line to shoot 2, and the Badgers are so good this year at the free throw line.
Do you think
It's
some
incredible.
of it, the crowd,
it has
slowing
to be.
that free throw percentage way down?
It has to be. They're 8 for 17, the Badgers are. Out of bounds off of Wisconsin. Nigel Hayes knocked it loose, but it was off of the arm of Siobhan, or he hit Siobhan Shields on the arm. The ref did not call the foul. Out of bounds, though, last touch by Wisconsin. And we have a timeout on the floor. 65-57, 2:42 to go. Back after this here on 90.3 KRNU.
Over the past 50 years, SCORE mentors have helped more than 10 million small business owners succeed for free.
Starting business can be incredibly confusing.
SCORE really helped me steer the course.
Whatever the business, there's a SCORE mentor who can help you reach your goals.
SCORE mentors are serious business experts.
Are you starting or growing a business? Be one of the next 10 million small businesses helped for free by SCORE. Get your free business mentor at score.org.
ASUN Student Legal Services is a prepaid legal service funded by student fees. The assistance provided by Student Legal Services include legal advice on most types of legal problems and court representation if the case involves a landlord-tenant dispute, consumer complaint, misdemeanor offense, or uncontested divorce. Any UNL student in need of legal help should call 472-3350 to set up an appointment with an attorney. SLS is located in room 335 in the Nebraska Union on City Campus.
Hi, I'm Pierce Corlett.
I'm Josh Cluzy.
And I'm Reed Hunsaker.
Join us every Thursday afternoon from 5 to 7 p.m. on Scarlet and Cream.
We'll talk NFL, college football, soccer, Husker sports, and more.
Part of KRNU2's new Thursday sports lineup. We like to joke around, and we'll have the most fun talking sports in all of Nebraska.
So join us every Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. on KRNU2.
It's the hottest sports show on the web.
On krnu.unl.edu.
65-57, Nebraska in front of the 9th-ranked Wisconsin Badgers. The question now is, can the Huskers add to the list of weekend upsets? Nebraska women's basketball winning today. Husker baseball winning today. Women's softball team unfortunate, falling 1-0. And the Huskers trying to go 3-1 on the day.
What's the softball team doing, ruining our streak?
Hey, you You can't win them all. You have to remember that. But this one, you would certainly think for Husker fans, they want the win. Gallegos. Pitchford, left side wing. Parker in front of the Husker bench. I should say right side. Now left side is Shields. Petaway, 10 seconds on the shot clock. Driving inside, and Kaminsky, no foul, gets his own rebound and puts it back.
Double-digit lead now.
Tim Miles can't believe it, but I think he will take that basket. And now here come the Badgers. Jackson inside, Nigel Hayes, loose ball off of Hayes again. It's still in play. The Huskers made 2 attempts. Kaminsky for 3. It's good!
Wow. What a turn of events.
Timeout by Bo Ryan. Exactly, Kipper. 2 attempts to save it by the Huskers, and they should have just let it go. Both times it was off of Nigel Hayes.
Petaway tried to throw it off the Wisconsin player. It hit him, but it didn't go out of bounds. It just kind of stayed there. Nebraska still had a shot of it, but weird set of events there. Now in Wisconsin, only down by 7. This is a team that can shoot the 3 ball pretty good, too. They're going to play tough defense on Nebraska in this next possession. Nebraska has to milk that clock, and obviously it would help to get some points, too. Get some points back, but Wisconsin does play tough defense. The most important thing is here to milk that clock.
1:59 to go, 67-60. And a baseline inbounds pass on the way from Siobhan Shields. Wisconsin full court press. Benny Parker gets it now. Off of Nigel Hayes' foot and out of bounds. Still a baseline inbounds pass again for Shields. As Parker tried to get it back to Parker. Petaway lost it. Wisconsin gets it back. A big turnover there for the Huskers in favor of the Badgers. And now here comes the Husker faithful trying to support this defense.
They're still standing, by the way.
Jackson right side wing. Kaminsky right side wing now as he got it for 3. It is no good. Shields gets in there, gets the rebound. And here he comes up the floor. And a foul going to be called on Josh Gosser, as he had to foul Siobhan Shields. And now a 1-and-1 scenario for the Huskers, which is not exactly, if you're a Husker fan, what you want.
But Shields is 5 for 5 from the free throw line today.
Huskers 9 of 11 from the charity stripe. Wisconsin desperate for a missed free throw here. Not going to happen. One in with 1:43 to go. 68-60 Nebraska.
A basket here would make it a 3-possession game still, but they have to make 3 3-pointers in order to tie it.
That one rims out. Kaminsky with the rebound. Here come the Badgers. Jackson. And a foul called on the Huskers as Trayvon Jackson got sandwiched in between 2 Husker defenders. The foul is going to be on Benny Parker. That's his 3rd. If you're Tim Miles, you're thinking, I don't want to go to Ty Webster, but if I have to, I will. Excuse me. Jackson at the line. 1 free throw is good. And the second one will be coming up. 68-61. 1:38 to go.
76% free throw shooting Jackson is on the year.
Second one is good. Nothing but net there for Trayvon Jackson. Inbounds to Petaway. In trouble. A foul called on Wisconsin.
Ticky-tacky foul there.
Bo Ryan livid right now. And the official kind of avoiding Bo Ryan, and I think he just doesn't want to deal with him. And for Husker fans, that means he doesn't want to tee him up.
Yeah, if that foul was called on Nebraska in this building, the fans would have erupted.
And that's the last thing that Wisconsin needs is a technical foul here.
Yeah.
And a timeout.
You don't want to pull a Jim Boeheim.
Oh, yeah, a timeout called by Tim Miles. And now Bo Ryan really having it in for the ref right now. The foul was on Nigel Hayes. That's his 3rd. So Kaminsky and Hayes with 3 fouls apiece. And Bo Ryan's still chirping with the official now. He turns around and heads back.
Put away pretty good free throw shooter on the year, 82%. Not the guy you want to have shooting free throws if you're Wisconsin.
Jon Kipper, would you believe me if I told you that the Huskers in this game would be shooting 52% from the floor and almost 55% from beyond the three-point arc?
Everything's good. 77% from the free throw line as well. We talked about early in this broadcast, Nebraska has to play a near-perfect game in order to win. I don't know if it's been perfect, but shooting 55% from beyond the arc, that's pretty good.
One free throw in by Teron Petaway, 69-62.
That basket makes it a three-possession game, even tougher now for Wisconsin.
8 fouls for the Badgers, so they can still get one more for a 1-and-1. 2 in now, 70-62. Hayes inbounds to Jackson, 1:35 and counting. Jackson, Rust, Gosser, going to drive inside in the paint, lays it in. No, it missed, but Hayes is there for the rebound. Petaway will have the inbounds pass. He gets it to Gallegos, trying to advance it. Now the Huskers need to hurry with the 10-second clock. They've got to hurry up. Air ball out of bounds off of Wisconsin. Nebraska gets a huge break as Gosser is on the floor. Hayes went crashing into the fans.
Hey, he tackled a fan, it looked like.
Yeah, right into the seats there. Shields inbounds to Petaway. Over to Parker. 1:05 and counting. Parker double teamed. Now Pitchford is double teamed. And Frank Kaminsky commits the foul. And Petaway will go to the line to shoot 1-and-1.
May not matter at this point, but fourth foul on Kaminsky. So he's obviously the guy Wisconsin's going to need for a comeback. Got to be careful now on the defensive end, especially when you have to start fouling Nebraska. He can't be the guy to do it.
Pitchford to shoot 1-and-1. First one is good. It bounced straight up in the air and fell right back down.
That's kind of the day Nebraska's had so far, and the crowd kind of moaned when that shot looked like it was not going to go in, but obviously some jubilation once it did fall.
Walter Pitchford, a 70% free throw shooter. 71-64, a minute to play. Second one, no good. Kaminsky gets the rebound. Here come the Badgers. Jackson, this crowd gets into it quickly. Jackson drives to the basket, tosses it up on the top of the backboard. And I don't know if we have a foul here or not. No, we do not. And Bo Ryan in disbelief. Inbounds pass from Shields to somebody. Gets it to Petaway, who holds on, and stolen by Hayes. Jackson gets it. No, he stepped out of bounds. Wisconsin turns it over. Nebraska ball, 50 seconds left. What an effort by the Badgers to try and save that play. First in the steal and then on the save attempt. Shields inbounds in front of the Wisconsin bench. He has nobody. Inbounds to Petaway off of Wisconsin. And Nebraska calls a timeout now. Both teams with one left, 10-9. Huskers with 10 plus fouls. Wisconsin with 9, 71-64.
And it looks like Wisconsin going to have to start fouling Nebraska. 50 seconds left. They just let Nebraska waste the time. They're going to have less than 20 seconds in the game. So they're going to have to start putting Nebraska on the line for 2 shots. Things obviously look pretty good for Nebraska right now. The bar owners that are in the rail yard are probably pretty happy because there's going to be some happy customers as it appears right now after this game. And as I say that, the students,
they're starting to file out.
They're getting ready, Ryan. They're getting ready for a court storming. Let's hope.
I still think it's too early, though, Kipper. It's 71-64 with 50 seconds left. It's too early for that right now.
Could we have a Stanford Cow situation? A little bit of a too early celebration. Let's hope.
I would.
If they do storm the court,
if you're a Husker fan, you don't want that.
Let's hope if they do storm the court that we don't have a Hawaii incident from Coach Bo Ryan.
Absolutely. Or a Utah Valley State, New Mexico State. Petaway got a nice inbounds pass. Still no foul. And Jackson commits the foul on Petaway. 5 seconds ticking off the clock. 45 seconds left to go in the game. 71-64. The 10th foul. Double bonus for both teams here on out.
And I do see KRNU's own Doug Lowery getting ready to storm the court as well. So he'll be
a little bit late
amongst
to
the madness.
Yeah, a little bit late to the post-game wrap-up show.
Maybe he's just taking the shortcut, going right to the court.
You never know, yeah. 72-64, one free throw good. Huskers 14 of 18. No, 14 of 19 from the charity stripe. I spoke too soon. Gosser, Kaminsky, right side wing. Pulls up with a three. It is no good. Pettaway comes down with the rebound, and he is fouled by Nigel Hayes. 34 seconds left to go in the game.
Pettaway, if he makes if he makes one of these free throws, will end the season as the Big Ten's leading scorer. So, he's got some implications with these next two free throws, and he's got two chances to do it, obviously.
First one on the way from Teron Pettaway. It is good.
Leading scorer in the Big Ten now, and he's got an argument to be made for Big Ten Player of the Year, and Coach Miles is going to have an argument for Big Ten Coach of the Year. Interesting enough, Michigan probably the two other guys in competition, that being Nick Stauskas and John Beilein.
Teron Pettaway has a double-double, 23 points, 10 rebounds. Shields has 26 points. Pitchford has 15 points. Jackson for three. Good! And Trayvon Jackson will force Bo Ryan to call one more timeout. 74-67. It is nowhere over yet, folks. Not even close.
This is a heavyweight fight, Ryan. Why would it end so soon? Wisconsin able to get something there. Obviously, Nebraska's still up 7. Wisconsin's going to have to keep fouling, hoping for misses. Nebraska getting a little bit shakier from the free throw line as of late. But if they're able just to make, one of two free throws consistently, it's going to be hard for Wisconsin to get back down 7 this late. You just don't have that many possessions left.
I just saw our own James Volbrel Max Baker is down there in that crowd, so another KRNU announcer on the court, or getting ready to storm the court. As it's 74-67, Huskers are still 52% from the floor, 55% from beyond the arc, 76% from the line. Wisconsin is 10 of 19. The Huskers are 16 of 21. And Nigel Hayes and Frank Kaminsky in foul trouble with 4. Pitchford also on the floor with 4 fouls. And Brent Bonfleur, our engineer for today, just told me that Bo Pelini is also in attendance today, in addition to Ndamukong Suh.
Yes, I did hear Bo was in attendance, and he has not sat down the whole game.
Shields inbounds to Pettaway. Pettaway is fouled, 25 seconds. As Ben Brust gets charged with the foul. No, Hayes. The foul is on Hayes, and Nigel Hayes is fouled out of the game.
Us media have it easy. We get to sit down the whole game. Everyone else standing on their feet.
Absolutely. So Bronson Koenig checks back into the game for the first time in a while. 2 shots for Teron Pettaway.
Well, it might be fun, if we just stood up and called the game.
I've done that already.
Hey, it's for football, that's what you do.
I did it for baseball earlier today.
Oh, yeah.
Enjoy this one. First one, no good from Pettaway. And if you're trying to close this game out, you need to make every free throw possible. David Rivers in for Walter Pitchford, so Tim Miles can preserve him. Just in case. Second free throw good. 75-67. Here come the Badgers quickly up the court. Jackson left side wing. Trying to drive inside. Kaminsky for 3. No good. Loose ball picked up. It's going to be a foul on Nebraska. I believe that's going to be on Benny Parker. That's his 4th. And now Pitchford will check back in, and we'll see who for. Husker fans not liking that one.
You don't want to be fouling at this point in the game, giving Wisconsin a stopped clock to make points, but obviously Wisconsin's going to have to make quite a few free throws.
Gosser got the rebound. He misses the free throw. Is this real life, Jon Kipper?
A rare miss from Gosser as best free throw shooter on the Wisconsin team, and actually in this entire game. Looks like Wisconsin team is kind of tuned out at this point.
16.6 seconds left to go. Second free throw good. Shields will grab it. Quick inbound to Pettaway. Still in, and Trayvon Jackson will foul Teron Pettaway. 14 seconds left. What an incredible game this has been. No one has left, and if anything, fans have tried to get in. There's probably a large crowd outside the Pinnacle Bank Arena watching on the Rail Yards video board. One free throw good, 76-68.
Think we're going to see Mike Pelton in these next 14 seconds? Doesn't look like it.
I don't think so. I think it's too close right now. Second free throw good, 77-68. 14 seconds. Here come the Badgers. Jackson, Brust a long three. No good. Gallegos gets the rebound, and he is fouled. No foul. It's over. Nebraska has done it. It's all over. The Huskers win it, 77-68 over the Wisconsin Badgers. The upset on senior night in Lincoln.
Chaos right now. Players and fans alike celebrating in that middle. It's interesting when people crowd the court, they really don't do anything. They don't really know what to do. They just kind of jump around and they all stop at some point and just have their hands in the air. But a cool scene and something, I mean, it's happened at least once this year at the Ohio State game, but you don't see this very often. Last year didn't even have an opportunity to do it. No home upsets, and with this win, Ryan, Nebraska's NCAA tournament resume looks pretty good, and they have a bye in the Big Ten tournament, as Ohio State will have to play Purdue. Nebraska plays the winner of that one.
An unbelievable scene, as Dan Schulman would say. Here in Lincoln, Nebraska, the Huskers knock off the Wisconsin Badgers. 77-68, the final. What a game here at the Pinnacle Bank Arena, the final regular season game of this 2013-2014 season. Unbelievable. We will take a break. We'll come back with the post-game report. We're not expecting Doug Lowery to join us, and who can blame him? He is down there in the midst.
It's going to be tough for him to get over there.
He might not even get up here at all.
Oh, man, this is awesome.
This is incredible. We'll take a break, come back. The Huskers needed a win. They get the win. 77-68 over the Badgers. We'll come back with the post-game report from the Pinnacle Bank Arena here on 90.3 KRNU.
This is an important message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Protect yourself against hypothermia and frostbite during cold weather. Wear warm clothing that covers your skin and remove any wet clothing immediately. Limit your time outdoors. Watch for signs of hypothermia and frostbite among elderly adults, babies, people drinking alcohol, and others at risk. Seek immediate medical attention if you suspect someone has hypothermia or frostbite. To learn more, call 1-800-CDC-INFO.
Hey, I'm an exchange student, and you can be one too. Don't just sit around and wish you could travel the world. Go do it. You'll see incredible things, make lifelong friends, and change your life in more ways than you can imagine. And hey, scholarships are available, and you may not even have to pay much more than you do now. The helpful team in the Study Abroad office are awaiting your call. So what are you waiting for? Call them now at 402-472-5358. That's 402-472-5358.
Hey, I saw you at the UNL Rec Center the other day.
Yeah, I was at the climbing wall.
The climbing wall? Whoa, I've always wanted to try that, but it sounds really dangerous.
It's really not. As a student, you get one free climb every semester, and the staff are trained to keep you climbing secure. But if you want to be a regular like me, you can take a climbing basics class for only $20 and climb all you want for a whole year. You learn about the equipment, how to properly belay another climber, and how to tie knots.
Awesome. That sounds super rad. Are they open every day?
Yeah, it's the best. They're open from 2 to 10 Monday through Thursday, and 2 to 8 Friday through Sunday. You should definitely check it out.
Yeah, man, totally will.
Start your own adventure with the UNL Campus Recreation Center and Outdoor Adventures. Visit us on the second floor of the rec or go to crec.unl.edu/outdoor.
Hey, I saw you at the UNL Rec Center the other day.
Yeah, I was at the climbing wall.
The The climbing wall? Whoa, I've always wanted to try that, but it sounds really dangerous.
It's really not. As a student, you get one free climb every semester, and the staff are trained to keep you climbing secure. But if you want to be a regular like me, you can take a climbing basics class for only $20 and climb all you want for a whole year. You learn about the equipment, how to properly belay another climber, and how to tie knots.
Awesome. That sounds super rad. Are they open every day?
Yeah, it's the best. They're open from 2 to 10 Monday through Thursday and 2 to 8 Friday through Sunday. You should definitely check it out.
Yeah, man. Totally will.
Start your own adventure with the UNL Campus Recreation Center and Outdoor Adventures. Visit us on the second floor of the rec or go to crec.unl.edu/outdoor.
This is Louisa. Recently she got help going online.
Okay, so hit that green button.
This is her first video chat.
Oh, Louisa? Oh my gosh, there she is.
And the first time she's seen her niece in 5 years.
It's so good to see you.
See what the internet can help you do at everyoneon.org or call 1-855-387-9166 to find a free training class near you.
Oh, I've missed you.
Brought to you by Connect to Compete and the Ad Council.
Tune into every Husker men's and women's basketball game online at krnu.unl.edu and 90.3 KRNU.
It has only begun here at the Pinnacle Bank Arena, and for the entire downtown Lincoln area, the upset complete 77-68. The Nebraska Cornhuskers upset the number 9 Wisconsin Badgers. Fellas, I had the pleasure of calling the Nebraska-Indiana game 2 years ago when the Huskers upset the Hoosiers.
This is even bigger, Ryan.
Yeah, that was nothing compared to this. Up at the Vandy Center, this is something else here at Pinnacle Bank. What an incredible atmosphere as the Huskers get the win. 52% from the floor for Nebraska, 53% from beyond the arc, and 76% free throw shooting. Teron Petaway, a double-double in this game, 26 points, 10 rebounds. Siobhan Shields had 26 points and 3 rebounds. Walter Pitchford with 15 points. And those were the main 3 Huskers in double digits. As, again, an incredible victory for Nebraska over the Badgers at the Pinnacle Bank Arena. Jon Kipper, let's start with you. Your thoughts on this one?
Nebraska just had its biggest win in a long, long time, and now they have one more staple win for the NCAA Tournament Committee. It's going to be really hard to stub this team now, even if they go to the Big Ten Tournament, lose in the quarterfinals for whoever wins Ohio State, Purdue. But Nebraska, we said earlier in this broadcast, has to play a near-perfect game. Wisconsin certainly did not give this game to Nebraska, shooting 45% from the three-point line. Played a pretty clean game, but Nebraska able to overcome everything. Guys like Benny Parker just being fantastic on defense all game. Nebraska able to make free throws late. Pittsburgh able to have huge three-pointers down the stretch. And it looks like, for the first time since 1998, Nebraska's going to go dancing. It looks like that's going to happen at least.
As of right now, it looks good. We're joined by Doug Lowery, folks. He made it. Douglas?
I made it. I was in the court storm, and I happened to make it out to get it up to you guys to tell my tale.
Do tell. What was that like, my friend?
Well, with about 54, 55, 56, something like that, seconds left, we all went around down to the sides of the baskets, and then it was just waiting it out.
It was a long time, too, to wait it out.
I'm pretty sure we left with like 5 seconds left to go on the clock, but Nebraska had possession of the ball, and Wisconsin wasn't going to foul. But I don't know if you guys could tell it from up here, and I don't know if I'm yelling right now, but I might be part deaf after this game. That was the loudest thing I've ever experienced in my life.
I know for sure I am not going to have a voice once this broadcast is done. I'm going to sound totally hoarse, because this is just remarkable, this scene here in Lincoln with just, I mean, it's taking forever for the students to get off the court and to get out, and there might there might not be a lot of students showing up to class tomorrow. I know I will be one of them who shows up to class, but everybody else, though, I'll
my
tell you
8 a.m.
what,
shift at the rec, that might be a light weight room tomorrow morning.
I agree. I would think so. Wade Hilligoss joining us as well. Wade, your thoughts on the performance by Siobhan Shields and Teron Petaway in this game? Unbelievable.
You know what? There were times in that first half where I thought Nebraska was about to lose it. I thought that the Badgers were about to start pulling away, and it looked like Siobhan Shields was the only thing holding the Nebraska offense together. There is really... I'm having a hard time seeing how Nebraska was able to pull this win out, honestly. They did not play... They played well to get to the level of Wisconsin, but there were things that we said in the pregame that I think are pretty well regarded as things they needed to do to be successful. They got in foul trouble pretty bad as a team, both halves. I think they're in the double bonus with like 7 or 8 minutes to go in both halves against a team in Wisconsin that, frankly, if they make those free throws at a normal clip, this is a much tighter game. Wisconsin only shot 52% from the line. I think fortunate is a word that I would give Nebraska, but what an atmosphere. Holy cow. I sitting behind you guys, listening during the broadcast, couldn't even speak to the people next to me at certain points. I know you guys had the headphones on, but at a certain point, people were rattling my chair. I mean, that was how intensely loud this was. They had a decibel meter going on TV. I don't know what it ended up getting up to, but the sound was definitely a factor, especially in the second half. What an incredible atmosphere. What an incredible game.
4 Wisconsin players in double digits in points. That was Frank Kaminsky, Ben Brust, Josh Gosser, and Nigel Hayes. Where does Wisconsin go from here, Jon Kipper? I mean, this is just unbelievable to see them just fall by this much here. But again, this crowd had a huge effect on the Badgers. But where do they go from here now?
Still a very good team. I'm going to guess this was the most hostile environment they played in all year. Obviously, they went to some other tough Big Ten schools, but the game wasn't as big for those schools. The capacity crowd wasn't, maybe similar in terms of numbers, but I don't think those other schools are as loud. Nebraska fans wanted this so bad, and just from the beginning with the Mike Peltz engagement thing and just throughout the game, the Nebraska crowd, nobody sat down during play, it seemed like. They were fantastic. Wisconsin now goes to the Big Ten tournament. Still as a 2 seed, they can absolutely win that thing. And they have a pretty easy road, I mean, relative terms. They got a chance to win, like I said, Iowa, Northwestern, winner of that. Excuse me, not Iowa, Northwestern.
Ohio State, Purdue.
Well, we played the winner of that. I was trying to think of who Wisconsin would play. It would be Penn State for somebody else. But regardless, they're not going to have the toughest road. Minnesota is the other school, because I just thought of it. But, yeah, I think they can win the thing. This is a very good ball club. I'm interested to see now what seed they can get. They're probably not going to get a 1 now, but who knows? If other teams fall, if they win the Big Ten tournament, they still have that shot. But really as well, how big of a deal is a 1 and 2 seed? They're very similar. You play pretty similar teams. They still could absolutely even go to the Final Four.
Doug Lowery, your thoughts now we know, or Wade, you want to go ahead and say what Big Ten tournament's going to look like?
Final standings, Michigan we knew was the 1 seed. Wisconsin we knew before our game tipped off that they were the 2 seed. Michigan State grabbed the 3 seed with their win today. Nebraska with their win now has the bye. We were talking about they're the 4 seed. Ohio State sitting around watching this game drops to the 5 seed on the last day of the regular season. Iowa 6th, Minnesota 7th, Indiana 8th, Illinois 9th. Penn State jumps up a couple spots after a few relatively surprising weeks. They finished 10th, Northwestern 11th, and Purdue 12th. So the first round will be Ohio State, Purdue, Iowa, Northwestern, Minnesota, Penn State, and a pretty nifty Indiana-Illinois matchup. Nebraska, of course, playing the winner of Ohio State and Purdue on the second day of the tournament.
Doug, whoever wins that game, Huskers play. What are your thoughts on that?
I can't hear anything. What's the matchup? Purdue, Ohio State?
Yeah.
Oh, man. A.J. Hammonds is a great center down there for Purdue. They're a team that can get hot and could possibly win that game, but I think both teams will be interesting. Either team would be interesting for the Huskers to be playing.
I'm going mute. You're going deaf.
Right.
And these are the only 2 guys who have voices left and can hear everything, so that is going to do it for us here. We would like to thank the following people for making today's broadcasts, and I mean that in the plural form, possible. Chancellor of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, Harvey Perlman, and the Dean of the UNL College of Journalism and Mass Communications, James O'Hanlon. Today's broadcast was produced by Rick Alloway, Ford Clark, and Wade Hilligoss. The Husker Countdown pregame show was produced by myself, Ryan Swanigan, Wade Hilligoss, Jon Kipper, and Doug Lowery. A thank you to Zach Clark for engineering today's baseball game, as well as Drew Montaigne for doing the color with me on that game. And a huge thank you to Brent Bonfleur, who has been in the KRNU studios since 5 o'clock, getting ready for the pregame show.
What a trooper.
Absolutely. Incredible stuff there for Brent. This broadcast was intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast accounts or descriptions are strictly prohibited without prior written consent of the UNL College of Journalism and Mass Communications and the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. We are not sure when you should tune in to the next broadcast of Nebraska basketball because there's a outside chance that we could end up covering the Nebraska women's basketball regionals here at the Pinnacle Bank Arena. We will hopefully be able to bring that to you. If not...
Are you telling me we're not going to Indianapolis for the tournament?
I wish. Ugh. I so wish we
need to get Rick on that.
I know. We might just try, but, if all else fails, we can look to women's basketball being here.
There you go.
For now, our next broadcast, really, of any Husker sports is on Tuesday from Hawksfield at Haymarket Park as the Nebraska Cornhuskers will take on Northern Colorado. 1:30 broadcast time start as Tim Miles walks over to the Husker Sports Network radio bench for his postgame interview. For Doug Lowery, Wade Hilligoss, and Jon Kipper, I am Ryan Swanigan saying good night from the Pinnacle Bank Arena. Again, a final. The Huskers with the upset over the 9th-ranked Badgers, 77-68. You have been listening to Husker men's basketball on 90.3 KRNU. Good night, everybody.
This has been a sports presentation of the University of Nebraska's radio station, your home for continuous coverage of the Nebraska Cornhuskers, 90.3 KRNU, Lincoln.
The traditional light bulb, a groundbreaking invention in 1879. It's time we switch to longer-lasting Energy Star light bulbs. They're more efficient than the old bulbs, like a text message is more efficient than a carrier pigeon. And they cut down on our energy costs. Because in our own groundbreaking age, we deserve a light bulb that saves us some cash. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.